Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 357. Is it not a joy to have friends come from afar? 1. Pardon Sioran, who is that? I sigh softly while looking at the demon beast in front of me. It's full of lies. Because it keeps spitting lies, I initially thought it was Coatrial. The appearance is fake, the claim of being in core formation is a lie, and not knowing Sioran is also a lie. Besides, seeing it borrow Sioran's appearance reminds me of Coatrial, stirring a rush of murderous intent within me. Sensing my killing intent, Beak Rin roars furiously. You insolent thing, can you not answer properly? At the four-axis Beak Rin's roar, the demon beast chokes as if its soul is about to leave its body. Enough. When I raise one hand, Beak Rin stops roaring and Hong Fan steps forward to interpret Beak Rin's words. If you lie one more time, you will die. Though I have no intention of going that far, the demon beast's lying seems a bit too excessive, so I decide to take a firmer stance. Perhaps due to the effectiveness of Hong Fan's threat, the demon beast disguised as Sioran starts frothing at the mouth and bows its head. I'm sorry, my lord, please forgive me. It's done now. Chua. As if steam is rising, the demon beast's appearance begins to change. From within the mist, the demon beast seems to transform into a koi fish, and then quickly takes on another form. First, tell me your real name. I address the koi demon that has now taken the form of a woman with colorful scales on her face. With a sigh of resignation, she speaks. My name is Yuk Yo, my lord, and as for the person named Sioran, I met him briefly when he visited Sacred Orchid Island before. Oh really, how did you meet him? That is... Seeing her hesitation, Hong Fan signals to Beak Rin. Beak Rin approaches Yuk Yo menacingly, emitting ghost fire. I'll speak. Actually, I guided him around Sacred Orchid Island because he was looking for something there. I frown as I read her intent. Another lie. When I signaled to Hong Fan, he again signaled to Beak Rin. Beak Rin, enraged, grabs Yuk Yo's head with a skeletal hand. Hong Fan speaks. This is your last chance. The cult leader can see through lies, so speak truthfully. Cug, I understand. I'll tell you. Actually, I approached and deceived Sioran Nim, who has the form of the dragon race, to steal his appearance and rob him. I clutch my head at her dizzying confession. So what did you do to Sioran? I didn't do much. I carefully observed his appearance and behavior, absorbed a bit of his energy. Speak without hiding anything. What else are you concealing? And no, actually, to absorb his energy, I drugged him with aphrodisiac and bedded him. Anyway, after receiving his energy, I was nearly caught by his spouse and barely escaped with my life, losing a chunk of my waist. I did steal about 10 ancient stones from his storage scroll, but nothing else. Please believe me. Look, I still have the marks from being bitten by that person's wife. Yuk Yo, trying to prove her innocence, shows her stomach. There are marks on her belly, as if she had been bitten by a fierce beast. This is rather dizzying. The fact that this demon beast had drugged Sioran to steal his energy and even robbed him is shocking, but what is more surprising is that Sioran is married. I don't know what expression to make as I ask the next question. So what happened to Sioran afterward? He fled from his wife for a while, then later found what he was looking for on Sacred Orchid Island and moved to another island. Do you know where he went? Well, as far as I know, he went to a place called Yungwu Island. It's not far from here. Which direction is it? From Sacred Orchid Island, it's to the southwest. It's famous for the white spiritual energy crystals that gather in the sky. I speak to Hong Fan. Hong Fan, brings Sioran here. You've seen his dragon form through this creature, and I'll show you his human form. It's all right. As he's someone I've met when I was a child, I still remember his appearance. What? Hong Fan is definitely from the head realm, and had met Sioran and Song Jin back when he was still a young centipede. But to remember something from before he even gained spirituality. I'm a bit surprised, but since Hong Fan surprised me more than once before, I just nod. Well, all right, go ahead then. By your command. Payet. Hong Fan disappears to the place indicated by Yuk Yo using the ground shrinking technique, and I ask her. Anyway, as you've seen, we came from the Nether Ghost Realm and are not well acquainted with the situation in the Ancient Force Realm. Explain what these ancient stones you mentioned are, the general power structure of the Ancient Force Realm, and the characteristics of this place. Ah, yes, understood. First, the ancient stones. She takes out a few glowing jewel-like things from her storage scroll. These are ancient stones. They are treated as currency in the ancient force realm. From what I see, they don't seem to be used for storing spiritual energy. What kind of stones are they? Ah, ancient stones are a unique substance found only in the ancient force realm. They can be obtained from the deep-sea depths or from deep-sea monsters. Their main characteristic is return. Return. Yes, exactly. Ancient stones are also known as stones that accumulate history. They endlessly record the paths they've taken, and when given a specific stimulus, they show the path they've traveled. Crack. She crushes one of the ancient stones, and it emits light, tracing a faint thread of light along the path Yuk-Yo had taken to be captured by Jeon Myung-hoon. Ho! Of course, if you stimulate only one, it will merely show the path. However, if you stimulate more than 10 at once, they emit attraction force, allowing you to return from the deep sea to the surface in one go. That's why ancient stones are also called return stones. Fascinating, but is the sea below that dangerous? If one can use water attribute spells, return stones shouldn't be necessary, right? Yuk-Yo gives me a puzzled look at my words. But she quickly remembers that we came from the nether ghost realm and nods. Ah, my apologies. Those from other realms and ascenders often don't know this. I've heard that in other realms the sea is filled with water, which sometimes leads to new ascenders diving into the deep sea to swim, causing rather tragic accidents. So you're saying the sea below isn't filled with water? It's strange. Not only does it look like a real sea, but the entire sea seems to be imbued with dense water energy. It's a place full of the energy of water, yet it isn't the sea. Yuk-Yo nods and explains. Yes, what exists below looks very similar to water but isn't actually water. It's a dimension. What? I ask in surprise, and Yuk-Yo continues calmly. The deep sea of the ancient force realm is a place formed by the overlapping of countless dimensions. The density of dimensions is so high that they pool together, appearing similar to water, but they are fundamentally different. Once you enter below, space twists instantly, making it impossible to know where you are. The deep sea is filled with all kinds of precious treasures from various dimensions, but it also has that many monstrous creatures like deep-sea monsters. Furthermore, a single misstep can send you falling into some deep, unknown dimension. That's why return stones are absolutely necessary to come back when entering the deep sea. Huh? Feeling so curious with fascination, I look down at the sea below. As I stare at the sea for a while, I suddenly notice something shining like a star beneath the surface. Oh, I see. It isn't just like a star, it is a real star. Beneath this sea, I can see the sky pooled together. But the night sky I see is quickly covered by waves, and soon blurs into other shimmering shapes. Why exactly does such a thing exist in the ancient force realm? I'm not exactly sure, but according to legends, it is said to be remnants of destroyed worlds. Remnants of destroyed worlds. Yes, it is said to be ancient worlds that no longer exists. The dimensions reflected in the deep sea are from worlds that perished long ago, and the deep sea of the ancient force realm was formed by absorbing pieces of these destroyed worlds. Hearing that, I feel like I am beginning to understand the conditions for ascending to the ancient force realm. Did you say there are ascenders in the ancient force realm as well? Yes, indeed. Do you know the conditions for ascending to the ancient force realm? Yes, I have a rough idea. Feeling like I am starting to understand why we ended up in the ancient force realm, I ask her to confirm my suspicion. Is one of the conditions for ascending perhaps possessing a destroyed world strength or artifact? Ah, yes, that's right, that's what I've heard. Having heard the formula from the owner of Salt Mountain, and using the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique, I can understand it clearly. The owner of Salt Mountain is a deceased entity, and true immortals are beings so vast they can be considered entire worlds themselves. That means the remnants of destroyed worlds are traces of deceased true immortals or something equivalent to that. That must be it. I look at the sea below with a grim expression. I thought the nether ghost realm, where dozens of entering nirvana true persons are observing, is the most eerie and chilling place, but it seems I am mistaken. The ancient force realm, where the corpses of true immortals are piled up like the sea, is even more horrifying. Perhaps aware of my discomfort, she continues her explanation with shaking eyes. Anyway, next is the basic territory of the ancient force realm. The ancient force realm is divided into three main regions. First, there's the water flow region where we are currently located. For now, visitors from other worlds often make this mistake, but please look up at the sky first. Hem. At her words, I look up at the sky. Unlike the nether ghost realm, it's a blue sky. Although different from the nether ghost realm and the true devil realm which lacks suns, the ancient force realm has something similar. It's the long ring surrounding the sky. But as I am gazing at the sky, I am startled. Celestial energy cannot be read. As I am taken aback, she explains. First of all, the skies of other worlds are said to be an endless void. I don't know what that feels like, but in the ancient force realm, there is an official name for the sky. It is called the dome sky, Chinese letter. And the dome sky is not an empty void, but another deep sea. If you keep going up into the sky, you will reach the dome sky and fall into the deep sea. So you're saying? I immediately understand what she means. The sky and the ground are both seas. How can such a structure exist? It's simple. This world, as in the space we are breathing in, is a kind of air bubble in the water, right? That is exactly right. Indeed, this world is a kind of air bubble. An air bubble inside a vast sea. Inside it, the living creatures of the ancient force realm live their lives. To continue explaining about the water flow region, one of these air bubbles is called a sea domain, and the ancient force realm is composed of countless such sea domains gathered together. The water flow region refers to the sea domains on the outskirts of the entire ancient force realm. She continues her explanation. And as you move towards the center, the size of the sea domains, that is, the air bubbles, increases. Among them, the very center has the largest sea domain. Think of it as a very large air bubble in the center of smaller air bubbles. This large air bubble is called the Tao departure region. I pause because the name sounds familiar. Water flow. Tao departure. Then the next region must be. Is the next region called the care region? No. There is no such region called the care region. Anyway, the Tao departure region is the largest sea domain, and it has its own attraction force, pulling smaller sea domains towards it and preventing them from scattering into the deep sea. And the final region is the Zijai worship region. The Zijai worship region is a vast continent located at the center of the Tao departure region. In fact, the sea domains in the ancient force realm only have islands, so the Zijai worship region is the only continent. Anyway, the Zijai worship region is where the sacred master He Lin of the ancient force realm resides, overseeing the entire realm. If the Tao departure region is considered the capital, the Zijai worship region is particularly revered as the land visited during important events, such as the heavenly tribulation. I'm lost in thought. Although there's no care region, the names water flow, Tao departure, and Zijai worship are familiar. The storage scroll of lofty dragon true person. Their storage scroll definitely has the water flow layer, Tao departure layer, care layer, and the Zijai worship layer. And in their storage scroll, the care layer is essentially a middle zone created between the Tao departure layer and Zishi worship layer. So the real floors are the water flow layer, Tao departure layer, and Zishi worship layer. Indeed, when you think about it, the ancient force realm is related to health, and the lofty dragon, who's the successor of the Zijai immortal beast, the owner of health. I signal to Yuk Yo to continue her explanation. Yes, then I will explain about the forces within the ancient force realm. First of all, there are no significant factions in the ancient force realm. Only the Sea King Hall, Chinese letter, governed by the sacred master He Lin, is the supreme power in the ancient force realm. In the past, the esteemed ones of the ancient force realm engaged in factional fights, causing several sea domains to be destroyed. Afterwards, the sacred master purged the esteemed ones and banned the formation of any major forces besides the Sea King Hall. As a result, there are no other major powers in the ancient force realm apart from the Sea King Hall, only minor palaces that rule over a sea domain. Below the palaces, there are tens or hundreds of islands, each ruled by an island lord. They engage in minor power struggles among themselves, but there are no major conflicts. I see. So the sacred master does not interfere in minor disputes within the sea domains. That's correct. I can freely spread my teachings then. Of course, the reason the Wuji religious order thrived in the nether ghost realm is because it provided physical bodies, which will be meaningless to the creatures of the ancient force realm. Hence, it might not be very effective. But still, it means I could retaliate if a ruler of a sea domain bothers me, so it doesn't matter. I ask Yuk Yo, by the way, I'm curious about something. What exactly are those islands below? If what's below is not water but a dimension, how can those islands float stably above it? Ah, those islands are made of clumped ancient stones. They contain ancient stone veins throughout, preventing them from sinking. Moreover, ancient stones have a characteristic of remembering their original position and exerting an attraction force towards it, keeping them fixed in place even if the dimension shakes. You said ancient stones are used as currency, right? If someone digs them all up, will those islands sink? That's correct. Therefore, mining ancient stone on islands is strictly prohibited. Anyone caught doing so is made into bait for deep-sea monsters by the island lords. When a deep-sea monster is attracted by the bait, it is hunted, and the ancient stones obtained from the monster are used to repay the amount mined by the bait. Only when 10 times the amount of ancient stone they mined are harvested are they released. However, most baits die before that, making it essentially a death sentence. I see. I nod. For the time being, let's float around this area. We'll hunt those deep-sea monsters and gather enough ancient stone to prevent the entire Twilight domain from sinking before landing. Understood. By your command. The surrounding guardian ghost kings respond loudly. I speak to Yuk Yo. Thank you for the explanation. Since you've provided useful information regardless of what happened, we'll treat you as an honored guest. No, I'm of no use, so just throw me nearby and I'll disappear on my own. Hee hee. My apologies, but we need a local for a bit longer. Hey, Beak Rin, take her to the honored guest chamber. Yes, cult leader. Beak Rin responds loudly and drags Yuk Yo away, disappearing off somewhere. U0026 NBSB. Yuk Yo looks at me with a terrified face, but knowing Beak Rin's kind heart, I ignore her and look up at the sky. The celestial energy is unreadable. Interesting, a world without a sky. In such a world, it will be extremely difficult for the Heaven tribe to survive. Of course, as starlight is still visible from those dimensional fragments, the 7 stars ritual might still be possible. However, with celestial energy being unreadable, they will be overwhelmingly disadvantaged in information warfare. A world full of the Earth tribe. It's an interesting place. And right then, a familiar shadow flies from afar. A pitch-black demon centipede cleaves through the sky, heading this way. Kuong. Hong Fan lands in front of me. I've returned, Master. You've done well, and I look at the 2 figures sitting on top of Hong Fan's head. It's been a while, friend. A half-human, half-dragon clad in black clothes. It's Seo Ran, main base of the Bukhyang fleet. An old ghost who had been lying down just moments ago is now nervously biting his fingers and frantically pacing around the room. Damn it, my disciple is in the Weijiang Sea domain, and now you tell me beings from another world have invaded the Weijiang Sea domain. I don't know if it's a deep-sea monster or a vestige from the interdimensional void, but if the impact can be felt from the neighboring sea domains, it must be an incredibly formidable entity. My disciple must be kept safe. Do we have any remaining 1,000 Li eyes? Looking at the old ghost, a woman in white clutches a heated jade norigi. She takes out a storage scroll and rummages through it. It seems we used up all the 1,000 Li eyes when we occupied this sea domain. There are none left. Cug, didn't you say you were making some kind of tracking device before? Yes, but Elder Song asked why I am making such things when we have the 1,000 Li eyes and told me to not make them. The woman in white looks at the old ghost with a slightly pouting expression, and the old ghost, flustered, responds to her. I'm sorry, everything has its use, so you really didn't develop it. I do have a prototype. However, since development was halted midway, it's not as effective as the 1,000 Li eye and can only roughly estimate Seo Ran's position. The woman in white pulls out a small crystal-like object from her storage scroll. When she breathes spiritual energy into the crystal, it shines, projecting a map of the sea domain. A large pitch-black sphere emerges above the map. This is. It's the situation in the Weijiang Sea domain. Something ominous has appeared above the sea domain and given its size. If it's a living being, it will at least be at the grand perfection integration level. It could even be more than that. And my disciple, where is my disciple? You gave Seo Ran ghosts, right? Do you have any ghosts with similar energy to those you gave Seo Ran? We need a specific energy to locate it. Here, this is a ghost paired with the one my disciple has. It's a bit old, but The old ghost takes out a rusty, worn-out bell from his pocket. The fundamental energy is definitely the same. Yes, that will be enough. The woman in white receives the bell from the ghost and holds it close to the map projected by the crystal. The map reacts, creating a single red dot. The old ghost's eyes widen. The red dot on the map is located at the center of the large black sphere projected on the map. He clutches his head and screams. Immediately, deploy the Bukhyang fleet immediately. We must head to the Weijiang Sea domain. My disciple is inside the belly of that otherworldly evil being. // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 358. Is it not a joy to have friends come from afar? 2. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 358. Is it not a joy to have friends come from afar? 2. Thud. Xiao Ran leaps down from above Hong Fan's head. His face is a mixture of joy and astonishment. No, senior, what is this? Are you really the same senior from 300 years ago? Haha, yes. Some minor things have been added, but there hasn't been much change, has there? Well, let's just say so. Haha, it's truly astonishing, senior. The last time I saw you, you were at the nascent soul stage, but now you're already in the late 4-axis stage. Indeed, senior is a genius like no other. Haha. Xiao Ran burst into admiration, as if assessing my cultivation. Well, considering that I appear to have progressed from the nascent soul stage to the late 4-axis stage in 300 years, it's indeed an enormous growth. Of course, there were far more events involved in my cultivation progress than it appears on the surface. Well, let's leave it at that. Anyway, it's been a while since we met. Let's go inside and talk instead of standing outside. I stand up and intend to guide Xiao Ran inside the Wuji religious hall. Oh, I almost forgot, there's one more person. I look at another figure who has returned with Hong Fan. It's a beautiful fox-eared woman dressed in a pure white robe with long white hair flowing down. Is she your wife? As soon as I see her, I can recognize who she is. It's been a really long time for her as well. Indeed, her identity is that fox who had chewed my arm like a snack when I fell to ascension path during my early cycles. Of course, after reaching entering heavens, she was always beaten up by me. I don't know her name, and honestly, I don't even care about her gender, but it seems she was female. She descends from Hong Fan's head, gracefully holding the bottom of her robe, and bows to me. Hello, senior. It has been a long time. I'm Shiho Chinese letter, the beloved of older brother Xiao, and my art name Chinese letter is Gi Chinese letter. TL/N. Older brother is Gaga in the Raws. It's basically what a younger woman would use to address her older beloved. Gi means the board game Go, and Kim Young-hoon used to call the fox Baduk, which is the board game Go in Korean. Editor. Also amusingly, her name, Shiho Chinese letter, literally means start beginning fox. Ho, impressive. I exclaim, gauging the cultivation level of the fox, now named Shiho. Grand perfection, heavenly being. She might step into the 4-axis stage soon. Thinking about it, she's the fox who reached the core formation stage by merely absorbing heaven and earth spiritual energy on ascension path. It seems her inherent talent is truly extraordinary. Xiao Ran is now on the verge of crossing from the grand perfection nascent soul stage to the heavenly being stage. He must be under her thumb a lot. Regardless of what happened with Xiao Ran and the fox. Though there were some unfortunate incidents in the past, looking back now, they are both those I consider good friends. You come in too. Since it's been a while since we've met, let's hear how you've been. Haha, tell me how you two got married. Thank you for your consideration, senior. Hoo-hoo, but this girl has yet to marry older brother Xiao. We are just getting to know each other. Shiho blushes and seems shy, and I laugh heartily. They seem to be in the early stages of their relationship, still embarrassed around each other. Sorry about that. You two look so much like a newlywed couple that I didn't realize. However, during the conversation, I'm startled as I notice Xiao Ran's face growing increasingly pale. What's this? His intent is filled with terror, shock, and confusion. And right then, Shiho suddenly sniffs the air. In the next moment, her face contorts like a malicious evil spirit. Senior, please pardon my rudeness, but did a koi with a changing face sneak into your territory? Ah, you mean Yuck Yo. I found it interesting since she had Xiao Ran's face, so I brought her over. I used her to gather information about the ancient force realm, and now she's temporarily kept in the guest chambers of that building. I see she still has older brother Sio's face. That mongrel dares. Craig. She-Ho grinds her teeth and, exuding killing intent, flips in the air. Chua-ru-ru-ru. In an instant, She-Ho transforms into a fox with 5 tails and rushes towards the building I pointed at. She grew 2 more tails. I watch in fascination and at the same time, speak to Hong Fan since Yuk Yo is still my guest. Go and calm her down a bit. Yes. Pay it. Hong Fan transforms into his human form, quickly splitting the space and heading to the guest room. I pat Seo Ran's shoulder and guide him inside the Wuji religious hall. Haha, come to think of it, you didn't look very happy when I mentioned your marriage earlier. What's the matter? You seem to be quite under her thumb. As I say this, Seo Ran looks around. A loud commotion is unfolding from inside the building She-Ho has rushed into. Seo Ran, having entered the Wuji religious hall, is now inside the hall's protective barrier. Does this barrier have soundproofing as well? Yes, it does have a soundproofing function. Weeding. When I snap my fingers, the formation activates, blocking the sound from inside and outside. Do you have something you want to say? I ask curiously, and Seo Ran, pale-faced, grabs my arm as if clinging for his life. Senior, please save me. I can't live like this. My master, who is of lower cultivation than that fox demon and is very open-minded, doesn't seem to understand me. Even when I asked Lady Buck to intervene, she only told me to have a beautiful love, which isn't helpful at all. I absolutely can't endure this. Even though it's said that different species of the Earth tribe can have children after the transformation stage, I really think this too much. Senior, please separate She-Ho away from me. His face is pale with fear. His intent is filled with terror and astonishment. No, wait, this is... Within Seo Ran's terrified intent, I realize what he is scared of. Amidst his fear, he's afraid of something changing within himself. Seo Ran feels that something is changing within him as he interacts with She-Ho, and that is what he fears most. I ask seriously, Seo Ran, what's the matter? Does She-Ho torture you every night? Or does she drain your essence for her cultivation with something like the star-absorbing great technique? TL/N. Star-absorbing great technique is a reference to Jin Yang's novel The Smiling, Proud Wanderer, where it's one of the iconic techniques of the main character, Ling Hu Chang. No, She-Ho is always good to me. She-Ho never uses any techniques like the star-absorbing great technique. In fact, She-Ho's cultivation was even delayed to find spiritual elixirs that would aid mine. As a companion, She-Ho is ideal. Then what's the problem? I heard from the koi demon who deceived you that the koi demon drugged you and did something. Perhaps, did She-Ho get extremely jealous thinking you cheated because of that? Yes, that's part of it. Since the night I spent with that koi demon, She-Ho became extremely jealous towards any female demon beasts that come near me, to the point of even trying to kill them if they get too close. So she's extremely possessive, but how bad is it for you to be like this? No, the reason I'm acting this way is not because of possessiveness. Although She-Ho is very jealous, most fox demon beasts are said to be highly jealous when they fall in love, so it's a racial trait that I can understand. Then what exactly is the problem? I frown, unable to understand. She doesn't torture her husband using her higher cultivation, nor does she use any essence-draining techniques, and her possessiveness can be understood as a racial trait. Then just what is the issue? But seeing my confusion, Seo Ran looks at me with eyes that seem to say he can't understand me either. Senior, do you perhaps not possess the vision of demon beasts? No, of course I do. Then you can see the Taiji, right? How can you pretend not to know? Taiji, what are you talking about? As I'm still puzzled, Seo Ran finally explains directly, sounding frustrated. Upon hearing his words, I stop dead in my tracks. That fox is male. We share a moment of silence in the dark atmosphere. Did you really not know? No, I just thought it was a racial characteristic. Why would I use the Tage seeing vision to check something like gender? Normally, people don't observe such things in detail. Yes, that is true, I apologize. So how did you two end up together? In my opinion, I think his mind became a bit strange after being beaten up so much by Sir Kim Young-hoon. I felt sorry for him getting beaten up like a local dog, so I treated him once, and he's been like this ever since. Oh, is that so? Just as I'm about to say something to Seo Ran. Older brother tilde I'm back. Shiho, dressed in a pure white long robe, runs towards us. He jumps into Seo Ran's chest, acting affectionately. You know, I felt so sad being apart for so long. But don't worry, I never forgot about older brother. It wasn't too painful because it was a meaningful task, so don't worry too much. Seo ran, and I noticed the blood on Shiho's fingers. When I reach out with my consciousness to check, I find that fortunately, Hong Fan is treating Yuk Yo, who has been injured to the point of death but is not dead yet. If Hong Fan is treating her, her life should be fine, and I meet the desperate gaze of Seo Ran, who is silently pleading for my help. Shiho, meanwhile, is overflowing with intense, pale pink emotions towards Seo Ran. I'm at a loss for words, my mouth opening and closing. Finally, I manage to speak something. Have a beautiful love. Seo Ran's intent decays, while Shiho, overjoyed, wipes tears with his blood-stained hands. Thank you, Senior. Ha, thank you. I avoid Seo Ran's gaze. Well, they'll handle it somehow. It isn't as if someone had died or a close friend was lost, so minor matters like are none of my concern. It isn't my business, and I can only hope that Seo Ran will handle it himself. Besides, there are many techniques to change one's gender. If he can't endure it, one of them will learn one eventually. As long as it's not me, there's no need to interfere. Unless it's something as serious as selling Seo Ran's flesh as chi-building pills every night, I decide not to meddle in the affairs of these lovers, and I sit them down in the guest room to ask about what has happened. Seo Ran seems extremely uncomfortable regarding their relationship, so I mainly ask about Song Jin and Kim Young-hoon, as well as her matters and the ancient force realm. There really have been many events. Yes, many indeed. I never expected we'd have to go to Salt Sea Island to collect salt crystals for Chungmun Ryongnim. Salt crystals, huh? Hearing about it, it seems Seo Ran and Shiho are currently searching for clues related to Chungmun Ryong, who has turned into a salt pillar. Speaking of which, I spread my hands and demonstrate a simplified version of the great mountain-splitting emperor technique. Chuerak. Salt grain-like energy appears in my palms. Seo Ran is startled at the sight. I too have obtained a similar power, though I haven't yet thought of a way to save Sir Chungmun Ryong. Combining my power with your research might yield some results. I see, thank you. And while we're on the subject, I heard that Kim Young-hoon and Buk Hyang Hwa are primarily focused on Chungmun Ryong, but you and Song Jin have a different goal related to Seo Hwa. Yes, that's correct. Properly understand the king's intentions, identify the nature of the spells he placed on the Sea Dragon Palace, serving Command Palace and the Black Castle, and find a way to counter him. We thought it would be best to ascend to a different realm than the bright cold realm where he resides. Hence, for various reasons, we ascended to the ancient force realm. I nod and share the information I have gathered about Seo Hwa with Seo Ran. Seo Hwa and the tainted soul filling the heavens, and that within him exists a trace of pure light, along with the fact that he has a separate, main body. Seo Ran, seemingly overwhelmed by the continuous revelations, listens with wide, open eyes. In that case, the incident 300 years ago when our group suddenly vomited salt was also. Yes, when I used the great mountain-splitting emperor technique on Seo Hwa, showing him the power of this salt, it must have dissolved the tainted soul filling the heavens within you all. Sachi. But don't worry, the remaining tainted soul filling the heavens within you has been turned into salt, so it's no longer a threat. Understood, thank you, Senior, truly thank you. He appears to be in such a state of shock that he seems to have forgotten even the presence of Shiho clinging to him, contemplating something with a serious expression. Shiho wipes the sweat from Seo Ran's forehead and says, Older brother, we can't just keep receiving such incredible information from Senior without giving anything in return. Let's give him what we've gathered. Oh, we should. Following Shiho's suggestion, Seo Ran takes out a storage scroll and spreads it before me. Inside the storage scroll are various drawings. These are items we collected while wandering the ancient force realm. We'll explain each one, and you can take whatever you like, Senior. Oh, thank you very much. I've always been curious about what items exist in the ancient force realm. As I look into the storage scroll with growing interest, Seo Ran begins explaining the items one by one and laying them out on the table. Yes, first this is. As I listen to the descriptions of the unique specialties of the ancient force realm, I am suddenly shocked by an item with immense capabilities. Wait, explain that again. Yes, this is called the supervisory Jade, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. It's a crystal that allows you to project your consciousness to observe one of the lower realms you have been to or have previously descended your consciousness to. I received the supervisory Jade with trembling hands. It consumes both ancient stones and spirit stones to activate and only lasts for about a day, so its practical use is limited. However, it's a popular item among collectors who enjoy observing the lower realms. A very useful item indeed. Useful? You can only observe the lower realms with your consciousness in the plane of soul, so it's not very practical. No, for me, it's one of the most necessary items. With the All Heaven's Sword's ability, this item is practically a one-time use Void Spirit Pond for me. Especially since the Void Spirit Pond disappeared when I left the Nether Ghost Realm, this is a very meaningful resource. Currently, the structure of the Ancient Force Realm makes it uncertain if there is a Void Spirit Pond or not. Although seeing that Yonwei built the health axis makes it plausible there is one, there is nothing more important that can be used than this right now. Sorry, but could I use this for a moment? There's something in a lower realm that I need to observe. Of course, use it as much as you need. Thank you then. Wu Weng. Borrowing Seo Ran's ancient stones and using my spirit stones, I activate the supervisory Jade. Backslash, backslash, backslash. Hamjin chews on his lip. Ho, is it this boy? Remarkable, a demigod disciple. Your luck with disciples blossomed, ha ha ha. Hamjin awkwardly smiles at the praise from the three old monsters before him. Before him stand the three sage gods of Yuwa. Heavenly God, blissful sage. Fire God, merchant Hwa Yol. Devil God, black tomb, old devil. Each one of them is a top expert in the core formation stage. Sir Fighting Ghost, Sir Infinite Fighting Ghost. He repeatedly calls out to Infinite Fighting Ghost, the subordinate of the Wuji Ghost King, but receives no response. Since Infinite Fighting Ghost disappeared like the wind, he no longer answers Hamjin's calls. What happened to Sir Infinite Fighting Ghost? Just what is going on? Damn it, why today of all days? He bites his lip tightly. To inherit everything from Black Tomb at such a young age, you're really fortunate. For even the disciple to have such exceptional talent, I'm so envious I could die Black Tomb. Heavenly God, blissful sage, and fire God, merchant Hwa, you'll look at Black Tomb, old devil, with eyes filled with jealousy. Black Tomb, old devil chuckles and replies. Enough, Hamjin is mine. We agreed on this from the beginning, so don't covet him. Hamjin feels chills run down his spine at those words. Haha, well, we've seen his face and rested enough. When will the ceremony start? Amidst their noisy chatter, they ask Black Tomb, old devil with serious expressions. Black Tomb, old devil nods solemnly with a serious face and speaks. We can start immediately. Then let's begin right away. What are we waiting for? Haha, I was just concerned that you weren't ready. Let's go. At those words, the heavenly god and fire god stand up, and Black Tomb, old devil signals Hamjin from behind with a look. A signal to rise. Damn, I was planning to follow from behind and look for a chance to escape. It seems that will be difficult as well. Hamjin grits his teeth and squeezes between the sage gods as they head out of the cave residence. Split Turtle Valley was originally a massive round black mountain that had been split in half. However, being split in half doesn't mean it's perfectly divided into two. If seen from above, the split is slightly skewed to the left. And the place Hamjin and the old monsters are headed to is presumed to be the center of the round black mountain before Split Turtle Valley was formed. Is this the place, Black Tomb? That's right, blissful, that's the spot. Black Tomb, old devil takes out a small black awl from his bosom. His gaze turns to Hamjin. Watch carefully, disciple. This is my natal Dharma treasure and the artifact you will inherit, the Black Tomb seal. Surung. Hamjin flinches in surprise at the sight. It's an awl that emits an overwhelming energy. Now then, I will show you the power of the Black Tomb seal. Let's begin. All right. Understood. Black Tomb, old devil throws the awl into the air. The Black Tomb seal hovers midair before lodging itself slightly into the center of the Black Mountain. Everyone take it out. At Black Tomb, old devil's words, Heavenly God, blissful sage pulls out something like a massive crushing metal head from his mouth. The head, radiating a white sacred light, exudes such a terrifying coldness that just looking at it makes one shiver. Next, fire god merchant Hwa Yol takes out the spine of a demon beast, wrapped in fiery red flames, from his storage scroll. This is the spine of a nascent soul stage, true god-level demon beast. I happened to find it by chance in a cave residence within a volcano across the deep sea. Oh, how astonishing, the spine of a true god-level demon beast. If refined into a dharma treasure, who knows what might come out? Though greed flashes in the eyes of Black Tomb, Old Devil, and Blissful Sage, they suppress themselves, and each form hand seals. Wu-Wung. Simultaneously, the crushing metal head held by Blissful Sage and the demon beast spine held by merchant Hwa Yol fuse in midair. A hammer. The spine became the handle, and the crushing metal head becomes the head of the hammer. Black Tomb, Old Devil confidently reaches out for the hammer they have created. At that moment, Blissful Sage and merchant Hwa Yol glare at Black Tomb, Old Devil and speak. Wait, before you use it, we need to place a restriction on you. If you use this Dharma treasure, you'll be wielding both the true God-level Dharma treasure Black Tomb Seal and this supreme true God-level Dharma treasure. If you decide to kill us, we'll have no way to defend ourselves. Though Black Tomb, Old Devil's expression shows his displeasure, he spreads his arms and relaxes. HMPH, so distrustful. I too need to work with you all to obtain that power. Why would I betray you? You never know. Now, stop talking and accept the restriction quietly. You would do the same in our position. That's true, do it quickly. The Heavenly God and Fire God each place their respective restrictions on Black Tomb, Old Devil. By the way, Black Tomb, are you okay with this? If we use Returning Fall Star, everyone in Split Turtle Valley will explode from the shockwave. Won't your disciples die too? However, Black Tomb, Old Devil snorts and draws upon his devilish energy. A dark devilish aura envelops his entire body, transforming his appearance. That's ridiculous. I only have one disciple, Hamjin. The rest were just kindling to produce an excellent result like him. Whether they die or not is none of my concern. Just hold it in place. Well, all right then. Pay it. Heavenly God and Flame God each exude their energy, firmly fixing the Black Tomb seal in place. Chia. In the hands of Black Tomb, Old Devil, now in the form of a devil, holds a hammer. The returning falling star begins absorbing the devilish energy. Soon, the returning falling star turns pitch black, and Black Tomb, Old Devil soars into the sky holding it. Now then, I will pave the way. Hamjin, protect yourself. Yes. Hamjin draws upon the silica earth great wall secrets to protect his body. At the same time, he manipulates the dragon veins he has intertwined over the years. I can't let my fellow disciples die. Following Hamjin's will, the dragon veins of Split Turtle Valley move, wrapping around his fellow disciples. Here I go. Kagagugu. Black Tomb, Old Devil descends from the sky. Hamjin tightly shuts his eyes. The moment is near. According to Black Tomb, Old Devil's journal that he had secretly read, Black Tomb, Old Devil intends to seize Hamjin's body at this spot. Is it really the end now? And then Black Tomb, Old Devil's spell activates. Flash. His body burns with devilish fire, shining brilliantly, and the returning falling star begins to glow with starlight. Offering Sparrow Seal, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, release Chinese letter. QA. Black Tomb's entire body explodes, engraving a massive formation in the air. Receiving the power of the formation, the devilish fire-formed body of Black Tomb swells significantly. Black Tomb then swings the returning falling star downward. What, wait? Black Tomb, you bastard, you're betraying us after all. The returning falling star, which was originally supposed to strike the Black Tomb seal, grows massively just before impact, encompassing both the Heavenly God and the Fire God who are holding the Black Tomb seal in place with their energy. Quang. A tremendous explosion echoes. A terrifying shockwave spreads throughout Split Turtle Valley, and Hamjin feels all the defensive spells he had cast being torn apart, his entire body racked with searing pain. Splurt. He spits out blood as he is flung far from the spot where the returning falling star has struck. This is ridiculous. Even for someone in the chi building stage like me, this impact is overwhelming. If I hadn't protected my comrades with the dragon vein, they would all be dead. With the power of Silica Earth Great Wall secrets, Hamjin originally should have been unscathed. However, he had dispersed his strength to save his peers by providing them with protective gang chi. As a result, his entire body ended up being torn apart. Chi. Fortunately, the regenerative abilities of someone in the chi building stage allows Hamjin to quickly heal as he stares into the dust cloud. The sight before him is impressive. A massive cylindrical pit with a diameter of about 1 zhang continuously extends downward. And, Black Tomb, you dog-like bastard. Kiarara ki kahahata. The two sage gods appear battered and bruised. They seem to have used some life-saving spells to survive. Although their bodies are in tatters, they are still intact. And between them, a small golden core, covered in black devilish fire, floats in midair, bound by numerous golden chains. Hamjin almost screams with joy at the sight. The black ghost old monster. The old monster Yom Gok, who had tried to seize his body, now has his soul and golden core captured by the two sage gods. Heavenly God blissful sage sneers. You foolish Black Tomb. Did you really think we wouldn't anticipate you betraying us at the last moment and trying to take over your disciple's body to kill us completely? The golden chains aren't just simple restraints. They are designed specifically to prevent body possession techniques. Haha, this is what happens when you stupidly indulge in greed. Your devilish fire is useful, so I'll refine your golden core and soul well for my use, Black Tomb. The two sage gods laugh at Black Tomb old monster before turning their gazes to Hamjin. Well, we've cleared the path and captured Black Tomb, so now let's get rid of the witness. Chill. Hamjin feels a shiver down his spine. The two sage gods are targeting him. Apologies for this, disciple of Black Tomb. May you live a better life in your next one. The attack of Heavenly God blissful sage, radiating the light of vanquishing evil and upholding righteousness. The fiery attack of Merchant Hwa Yol, casting fire attribute spells, shoot towards Hamjin. No matter how injured and tattered their bodies are, they are in the core formation stage, while Hamjin is only at the early chi building stage. Under normal circumstances, their combined attacks would have exploded Hamjin instantly. Quaying. However, Hamjin envelops his entire body in a green light and blocks the attacks of the two sage gods. What? No, how is that possible? Sweating profusely, Hamjin activates the Silica Earth Great Wall secrets. Simultaneously, he feels a surge of power throughout his body and stomps his foot. Quaying. His foot strikes Split Turtle Valley. A memory of learning the Silica Earth Great Wall secrets from Infinite Fighting Ghost flashes through Hamjin's mind. This Silica Earth Great Wall Secrets is a method with clear strengths and weaknesses. It requires an understanding of the dragon vein and is difficult to master. However, if you succeed and connect the dragon vein with your spiritual vein, you can exert immense power within the area of the dragon vein you control. Kagagugu. Enveloped in green light, Hamjin looks like a ghost king with green will-o'-the-wisp burning all over his body. The dragon vein you control is essentially your formation diagram. Of course, if you go outside the area dominated by the dragon vein, this method has the drawback of making you weaker than those of the same realm. The Black Tomb Old Devil is dead, and the sage gods are in tatters from the Black Tomb Old Devil's betrayal. However, if you control the dragon vein of Split Turtle Valley, you can wield power surpassing the grand perfection chi building stage within the valley. True freedom is right before my eyes. The will-o'-the-wisps emanating from Hamjin's body spreads in the 4 directions, fully activating the dragon vein within Split Turtle Valley. The dragon vein of Split Turtle Valley converges centered around him, turning the entire vicinity into his formation diagram. Come at me, I won't die easily. Hamjin's shout makes the two sage gods grind their teeth. This brat, are you challenging a sage god as a mere demigod? Know your place, you insolent thing. Radiant light bursts from Heavenly God's body, and crimson flames erupt from Fire God's body. Soon, the tattered core formation duo and the chi-building stage Hamjin, who has gained transcendental power within Split Turtle Valley, clash. A battle that shakes heaven and earth ensues. The disciples of Black Tomb within Split Turtle Valley look up at the sky with desperate faces. And soon, the battle between the sage gods and the demigod, appearing like a scene from a myth, comes to an end. The battle ends with Hamjin's defeat. Splurred. Hamjin collapses, coughing up blood. The dragon vein still holds immense power, but Ham Jin's stamina fails to sustain it. Damn it, just a little more and it would have been fine. He coughs up blood, looking at the two panting core formation sage gods before him. Amazing kid. If you weren't Black Tomb Old Devil's disciple, I want to take you as my own. The two sage gods, though panting, look at Ham Jin with gazes filled with wonder. Ham Jin closes his eyes. And then, Fire God Merchant HWA Yol reaches out to Ham Jin. I can't stand it any longer. This won't do. Ham Jin, you become my disciple. I can't kill someone as ridiculously talented as you here. Why, what? I'm saying I'll spare you. That. Ham Jin's eyes tremble. He is afraid of serving under someone. But the connection with the Wuji Ghost King is severed, and his master who seek to steal his body, Black Tomb, is dead. As a result, there's nothing more to fear. That look in his eyes, it's genuine. Maybe Fire God Merchant HWA Yol is really. And as Ham Jin reaches out his hand towards HWA Yol with a dazed look in his eyes. Splat! From behind Merchant HWA Yol, a black devilish fire bursts forth, and a dark hand emerges from around his heart. Ah, cuckoo, that won't do. Ham Jin is my disciple. The voice of Black Tomb Old Devil echoes, U0026 NBSB. Fire God Merchant HWA Yol turns around, bleeding, with an expression of disbelief. There stands Black Tomb Old Devil, in the form of a ghost king with his body made of black devilish fire. Sorry, but I once obtained a devilish art left by a nascent soul true god. Even if I lose my physical body, I can resurrect as a demon ghost. Well, if you had thoroughly examined my soul after capturing it and added more restraints, I wouldn't have been able to obtain a demon ghost body, but my disciples' efforts bought me time. Just like this. Kurg, Black Tomb, you bastard. Huarrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr entire body. When the devilish fire subsides, Ham Jin opens his eyes wide. The eyes of fire god merchant HWA Yol have changed. Heavenly god blissful sage grits his teeth, realizing something. You, this bastard, you never intended to take over your disciple's body from the beginning. Were you aiming for our bodies all along? If one is going to backstab, one needs to plan 3 steps ahead. Kukuk. Now then, farewell, heavenly god blissful sage. Black Tomb old devil, now possessing fire god's body, reaches his hand out towards heavenly god. Huarararara. Heavenly god blissful sage, having nearly exhausted his spiritual power, fails to resist and is incinerated by the devilish fire emanating from the hand. The gaze of the devil who has killed the 2 sage gods, Black Tomb old devil, turns to Ham Jin. Hum. Wu. His voice returns to a more human tone. How astonishing, my disciple. I didn't expect you to hide such power. Though I knew you had something, I didn't have high expectations. But not only did you bring time against 2 sage gods, you also exhausted their spiritual power. Thud. Black Tomb turns around and picks up the returning falling star he used earlier. Then with his other hand, he lifts the Black Tomb seal, his natal Dharma treasure. If it weren't for your help, I would have had to exhaust the innate energy of both the falling returning star and the Black Tomb seal to backstab them. Thanks to you, the treasures remain intact. Haha, I am very satisfied. Seeing Black Tomb's satisfied expression as he gazes upon the hammer, Ham Jin grinds his teeth. What do you plan to do with me? Black Tomb looks at him. What do you mean? You are still my disciple. Lies. Ham Jin grits his teeth. The heaven and earth spiritual energy warns him of impending doom. He still plans to take over my body. I must not let my guard down. Whether aware of Ham Jin's worries or not, Black Tomb beckons to him. Come with me, my disciple. Ham Jin wants to refuse, but he can't escape. He has no choice but to reluctantly drag his exhausted body and follow Black Tomb. Black Tomb and Ham Jin descend together to the bottom of the pit that the 3 sage gods had dug together. As Ham Jin descends deeper into the pit on a flying magic artifact with him, he gasps. What is this power? It's an overwhelming power. The further down they go, the more palpable it becomes. Since the day I discovered that ancient power is buried beneath Split Turtle Valley, I've been desperately striving to obtain it. However, upon investigation, I realized that there's a grand restriction below this valley. To break the restriction, one has to simultaneously destroy parts of both the restriction and the valley itself. To achieve this, the 3 of us joined forces. Finally, with the help of the returning falling star and the Black Tomb seal, we were able to approach this power. Why is he telling me all this? Hamjin looks at Black Tomb with tension-filled eyes. Finally, the flying magic artifact carrying Hamjin and Black Tom arrives at the bottom of the pit. There, Hamjin sees a green spirit tablet. It's the object protected by the dragon veins of Split Turtle Valley, which he sensed through the Silica Earth Great Wall secrets. The source of this tremendous power. Black Tomb's eyes gleam with greed and tension. But at the same time, I thought, even if it is an overwhelming power, it would be disastrous if I can't control it or if there are side effects. So, I came up with a plan. He reaches out towards the spirit tablet. Wu-wung. The spirit tablet buzzes as if rejecting Black Tomb's touch, but he ignores it and lifts the tablet. First, I'll transplant this power into someone else's body to observe any side effects before properly examining it. The body of fire god merchant Hwa Yol, possessed by Black Tomb old monster. His chest has a hole where his heart should have been, caused by Black Tomb crushing it during his initial attack. Black Tomb places the spirit tablet into the hole in his chest. After forming hand seals, the flesh around the hole begins to heal. Hamjin, watching from behind, breaks out in a cold sweat. As the immense power from the spirit tablet melds with Black Tomb's spell, a heart grows over the tablet. The spirit tablet is becoming the old monster's heart. This is insane if it's this power. He is drenched in cold sweat. If it's this power, he is certain that even if the Wuji Ghost King comes in their main body, they would not be able to rival this power. Even if he is in the Chi building stage, a demigod is a demigod. He is sure that the crystallization of this power is not inferior to the Wuji Ghost King. Oh ho ho, it truly is such tremendous power. It surges through me. Chia. Possessing merchant Hwa Yol's body with the spirit tablet as his heart, Black Tomb morphs into his own form. Ha ha ha, it's the best, now I shall rule the peaceful cloud continent. His maniacal laughter echoes through the pit. The green radiance and power emanating from his body makes Hamjin look up at him in despair. Just then, Hamjin notices something strange about his shadow. It's clearly his own shadow, but it has 19 heads. What? And then, he hears a familiar voice. Formation activate. In the next moment, Kagagugu, the formation that Hamjin has laid out entwining the dragon veins in Split Turtle Valley activates. Author's note, though fights with minor characters are the most fun, it would be troublesome if the main story gets delayed, so I crammed everything into one chapter. Translator notes, some of you may have noticed the salt thing Seo Ran talked about that happened 300 years ago is actually a continuity error because it happened in the previous cycle. Think of it as if something similar happened when Seo Yunhyan fought against Seo Atrial at the start of this cycle law. // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 359, Is it not a joy to have friends come from afar? 3. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 359, Is it not a joy to have friends come from afar? 3. Payet. Green light illuminates the surroundings. Hamjin is drenched in cold sweat. Dangerous. He can feel it. If this formation activates, he will surely die. It seems that Black Tomb also senses the danger of the formation, as he glares at Hamjin with a terrifying expression. What did you just do? What? It wasn't me. I didn't do anything. Hamjin desperately denies it as he looks down at his shadow. However, his shadow, which had been that of a monster with 19 heads, has reverted back to his own. Black Tomb reaches out to Hamjin, with his face contorted into a malicious evil spirit. This won't do, damn it. I was planning to switch bodies if something went wrong with this one, but now it seems I'll need to scatter your soul and refine it in advance to be safe. What? Hamjin grits his teeth. Black Tomb Old Devil extends his hand toward him. And then it happens. The hand of Black Tomb Old Devil that is reaching out to Hamjin pauses. Chills. A shiver runs down the old monster's spine. What is this sensation? For some reason, he finds it hard to breathe. Black Tomb looks behind himself with trembling eyes. Just who can it be? towards where Black Tomb turned around and is looking. There is a man dressed in a white robe with black hair, sitting on the ground and observing something. Tingle, tingle. Black Tomb breaks out in a cold sweat. Since when was he there? I never felt him approaching. Is he someone who learned stealth techniques? He waves his hand toward Hamjin. He was going to kill him just now, but he changed his mind. Now is not the time to be concerned with someone like Hamjin. Whoosh quang. The devilish fire from his hand turns into chains that wrap around Hamjin. After subduing Hamjin in one move, Black Tomb asks the man in white with trembling eyes, "Who are you?" And then, the man who has been observing the ground where a dragon vein flows, looks at Black Tomb. Tingle, tingle, tingle. Black Tomb feels an eerie shiver rising from his entire body, making it hard to breathe. What is this? This person in front of me, he's not even at the chi refining stage. He has less energy than a mortal. Wait a minute. Less spiritual energy than a mortal. That means this isn't a living being. Chills, chills. The more he guesses about the man's identity, the more Black Tomb feels the chills. And then the man speaks. "I'm entirely in the plane of soul, so I was wondering how you recognized me, but it's thanks to that. That thing made your soul similar to a nascent soul and placed it in the plane of soul. It's quite a remarkable artifact." As expected, he had indeed been unable to recognize him until just now. It's only thanks to the spirit tablet embedded in his heart that he can recognize this man. Black Tomb asks the man, trembling, "Who are you?" But the man just looks at Black Tomb and then, as if uninterested, looks back at the ground. "I see, it's a formation spread across multiple planes. I thought it was just a corpse, but it's covering and hiding the formation. This structure is just like, I see. Jang Ik tried to enter the formation, and this being was killed by Jang Ik while trying to prevent him from entering." Black Tomb can't understand what this person is saying. But he understands one thing. He's a being related to this artifact. Indeed, is he a guardian spirit protecting this spirit tablet? Come to think of it, the voice that activated the formation wasn't Ham Jin's, but this man's voice. Black Tomb looks up at the sky. Even if he uses the flying escape technique with all his might, the formation will explode before he can escape from this deep place back to the surface. I can't let that happen. Black Tomb makes a life-or-death decision. There's no time to run. I have no other choice but to subdue this being and order him to cancel the formation. It's a decision he wouldn't normally make. However, Black Tomb is confident. The power he has obtained from merging with the spirit tablet is that formidable. Cancel the formation immediately, or I will kill you. It's an astonishing formation, but I've never seen this structure before. It's a formation with a strong attraction force. If I activate this formation through attraction force, what will happen? Damn it, don't ignore me. Kyujujuguk. Black Tomb gathers his power. From the spirit tablet merged with his heart, infinite power begins to emerge. I am now akin to true God. No, with this power, not even the heavenly being stage heaven above heavens, Chinese letter, can ignore me. The inside of the pit seems to instantly fill with Black Tomb's devilish fire. And just as Black Tomb is about to strike the man who is ignoring him, Weiyeving. Ping. Huh. Black Tomb notices a sound, as if something is misaligned within his body. Tuving, piving. The next moment, Kuang. Black Tomb's body explodes. Kuag. From the part of his body that exploded, a vivid green light bursts forth. And no, damn it, the power of the spirit tablet is running wild. He desperately tries to control the spirit tablet, but it's unshakable. Just then, seeing this scene, the man in white's eyes light up. So that's it. I was wondering why such a random spirit tablet was floating around the formation. Turns out it's the key, huh? The man begins to approach. Black Tomb shouts, his face contorting. Don't come any closer, you monster. Who are you calling a monster, you who devours his disciples? Ha Huaya. Kuang. Black Tomb struggles to control the spirit tablet, while simultaneously releasing endless devilish fire toward the man. But the man appears unaffected, advancing toward Black Tomb through the devilish fire. However, at that moment, Tiyang, a sound resonates from the spirit tablet embedded within Black Tomb's chest. Hearing that sound, the expression on the man in white changes. This is spatial divine power. This is a bit. Kugaguguk. The surroundings heat up with the green light from the dragon vein. The man clicks his tongue with a troubled expression, while Black Tomb looks at the man and the boiling dragon vein in terror. The green light covers the world. Kagagagugu. Hamjin opens his eyes. Where is this? Kyoyak. He coughs and struggles to his feet. The surroundings are filled with dust. But after a while the dust settles. Hamjin looks around. Split Turtle Valley. Split Turtle Valley has vanished. The surroundings are nothing but rubble, the remnants of what had been Split Turtle Valley. Hamjin, taken aback, touches his own body. How did I survive? He fails to understand. Given the explosive power of that formation, someone like Hamjin, who had exhausted all his spiritual power, should have been obliterated in an instant. Yet he hasn't died. What has happened? While Hamjin is still confused. Thunk. A hand emerges from beneath the rubble. It's the hand of his master, Black Tomb Old Devil Yomgok. Hamjin flinches. Kehyak Kurlug. Black Tomb emerges from under the rubble, gasping for breath. And then he and Hamjin lock eyes. Hamjin quickly contemplates. Thanks to the energy from the dragon vein, my danchin is gradually filling with pure spiritual force. Can I kill Black Tomb now? But Hamjin sees the faint green glow emanating from Black Tomb's body and suppresses his murderous intent. No, it's still dangerous. Black Tomb still has the spirit tablet's power. If I fight him, I'll lose. Barely restraining his killing intent, he speaks. Master, let me help you. Once I've gathered a bit more power from the dragon vein, I'll strike him then. Kyujuduk. Using his spell, Hamjin clears the rubble covering Black Tomb. Black Tomb takes a deep breath, vomiting blood. Black Tomb glares at Hamjin. For a moment, their gazes meet. Black Tomb, looking around as if he can't trust Hamjin, replies. This master finds it hard to fly. Lift the flying artifact, Hamjin. I have another cave residence in Black Ridge Valley next to Split Turtle Valley. If we use the flying artifact, we'll get there quickly. Take me there. I need to take an elixir and recover my strength. Twitch. Hamjin's eyes twitch at those words. Damn it, you cunning old man. He grits his teeth inwardly. Due to the characteristics of the Silica Earth Great Wall secrets that replenish spiritual power through the dragon vein, his recovery will be significantly hindered if his body is lifted off the ground. Black Tomb, with a sly expression, asks Hamjin. What's the matter, disciple? Are you saying you won't move the flying artifact for this old, injured master? Huaruk. The green glow around Black Tomb begins to transform into devilish fire according to his will. Gritting his teeth, Hamjin pulls out a flying artifact from his storage scroll. All the flying artifacts he possesses are slow. They were given by Black Tomb, fearing Hamjin might try to escape. However, Hamjin inwardly smiles. Maybe. Understood, master, but my current spiritual power isn't enough to operate the flying artifact properly. Please infuse it with your spiritual power to make it work. He speaks with the intention of depleting Black Tomb's power as much as possible, but Black Tomb, drawing more devilish fire, grabs Hamjin's shoulder. Hamjin, didn't I tell you, activate the flying magic artifact. Chiek. The heat from the devilish fire sears Hamjin's skin. He swallows hard. Understood. Wowung. Hamjin and Black Tomb board onto a carpet-shaped flying magic artifact. As Hamjin infuses it with his spiritual power, the flying magic artifact slowly rises into the air, moving in the direction Black Tomb points to. Hamjin controls the artifact towards the direction indicated by Black Tomb, while Black Tomb places his hand, generating devilish fire, on Hamjin's back. It seems as though he is prepared to incinerate Hamjin to dust at the slightest sign of betrayal. Flying through the sky, Hamjin grits his teeth. Are my fellow disciples safe? Considering the recent explosion, they might all be dead. Just where has Sir Fighting Ghost disappeared to? Wasn't it Sir Fighting Ghost who activated the formation just now? Could it be that he also intended to only use and then discard me? Lost in complex thoughts, he glances down. A heap of rubble that used to be Split Turtle Valley. And the flow of heaven and earth spiritual energy in Split Turtle Valley. And, suddenly Hamjin's eyes brighten. The flow of heaven and earth spiritual energy is strange. In one corner of Split Turtle Valley, the spiritual energy is writhing wildly. Then the piles of rubble in that place begin to tremble, and his fellow disciples emerge. What? Forgetting that Black Tomb is holding devilish fire against his back, Hamjin shouts in joy. Master, look, all the seniors and juniors are alive. Strangely, most of his seniors and juniors who are in the first or second star of Qi refining are unharmed. Not even a scratch seems to be on them, as if someone had specifically protected them. At Hamjin's shout, Black Tomb looks in the direction Hamjin is pointing to. But contrary to Hamjin's overflowing joy, Black Tomb's reaction is the complete opposite. Feeling something odd, Hamjin turns to look back. Black Tomb is sweating coldly. Master, what's wrong? Wowung, he asks while maneuvering the flying magic artifact. Kurung. It appears like dark clouds are gathering in the sky, but he pays it no mind. He's just curious about Black Tomb's demeanor. Master, there's a look of worry etched on your face. Then with a pale white face, Black Tomb speaks. Chia. The sky is suddenly filled with dark clouds, and the surroundings grow dim. Drip drop shua. In the pouring of raindrops, the devilish fire in Black Tomb's hand is extinguished. But Black Tomb, too terrified to reignite the devilish fire, points with a trembling finger to where his disciples are crawling out. The disciple Hamjin, can you not see that ghost? Hamjin looks back. There are only his seniors and juniors crawling out from where Black Tomb is pointing. Black Tomb's voice trembles. Can you not see that ghost with 19 heads clad in immense darkness? Hamjin pretends not to know and looks ahead. He steers the flying magic artifact with a composed demeanor, but grins where Black Tomb can't see him. As expected, that being hasn't abandoned me. They even saved my seniors and juniors. He speaks in a calm voice, as if to reassure Black Tomb. Master, it's just the streak of rain. It's because of the sudden downpour that you're seeing things. Clench. Both of Black Tomb's hands grasp Hamjin's shoulders. But it isn't an act of threat or intimidation. Rather, it's an action born of fear, clutching onto Hamjin as if he is the only one he can rely on. His hands are trembling, and in his ears he can hear the voice of the great ghost. Child, give it to me. Give me your heart. If you give me your heart, I will show you a delightful new world. If you give me your heart, you can come together with me. Come with me, and I will give you the chance to live a very enjoyable life. Black Tomb's pupils sharply constrict. It's coming. The massive great ghost with 19 heads clad in darkness is slowly following Black Tomb and Hamjin. Where do you wish to go? There's a place where the most beautiful eyes are embedded in the sky. There's also a pretty doll's dress waiting for you. I can send you to a place that's perfectly suited for your cultivation method. Black Tomb, panicking, clings to Hamjin. Disciple, can you not hear it? Can you not hear the great ghost whispering to me? He is trembling in fear. He can feel it. This ghost is not a true god or a being like the heaven above heavens. It's an even higher existence. An existence beyond the sky, in the world beyond ascension. Flying slowly through the sky, Hamjin speaks soothingly to calm Black Tomb. Please rest, master. It's just the sound of wind rustling through the raindrops. Black Tomb looks back again. The ghost is still ever approaching him. With every step it takes, its size grows even larger. Its body is like the night sky, its eyes resembling 38 red pearls. Child, give me your heart. I will let you come with me. My law protectors are also waiting for a new devotee. As the ghost waves its hand, faint visions shimmer within its dark robe. They will grant you grace in the sea where dimensions ripple. They will perform excellent procedures on you and celebrate you becoming one with us. Inside his black robe is a red monster with 6 arms. A giant with a body of starlight, a centipede curled up in the pitch-black darkness. The vision of a witch commanding countless cursed dolls flickers. Black Tomb clings to Hamjin, terrified at the thought that the ghosts inside the dark robe might reach out to him at any moment. Disciple, can you not see them? Can you not see the ghost and his 4 law protectors standing there? Hamjin laughs as he pierces through the rain. Master, I see very clearly. It's just a heap of stones. Thump, thump, thump. Black Tomb's pupils tremble erratically. He pants for breath. His heart starts to ache. Before he knows it, the ghost has caught up to them, right behind them. He wants to urge Hamjin to go faster. But the ghost's presence saps his strength. Child, I need your heart. The radiant sight of your heart gives me expectation. If you do not give me your heart, I'll use force. Clench. Finally, the massive black great ghost with 19 heads grabs Black Tomb's shoulder. Disciple, disciple, the ghost has caught me. Kyojuju duck. Darkness burrows into Black Tomb's body. They are curse spells. Curses all dreadful and all vile. Curses filled with unimaginable torture and pain that no ordinary devilish cultivator could ever fathom. Black Tomb can't even begin to guess how many millions of souls this ghost has tortured to forge these curses. He screams at the sight of these dreadful curses. Disciple, the ghost is hurting me. Disciple, fly the magic artifact faster. Disciple, Hamjin. Hamjin begins to ease his power from the flying magic artifact. Gradually it slows down. Terrible screams begin to erupt from behind Hamjin. Screams like those of eunuchs being castrated alive. Hamjin does not look back. Since Infinite Fighting Ghost has attached himself to him, Black Tomb's disciples have been subjected to experiments but never killed. But Hamjin clearly remembers his fellow disciples, his seniors and juniors. Before he connected with the Wuji Ghost King, countless of his friends had been sacrificed as experimental subjects by this vile devil. KUAGH, Hamjin AH, please, I can't see anything, please save ME. Where is this MOTHRRR? KUAGH, HUKUAGH. The screams are like the wails of ghosts. He brings the flying magic artifact to a halt and slowly lowers its altitude. Clench. This dog bastard, move forward, move faster, hurry. Black Tomb, writhing in pain, strangles Hamjin from behind. It's then that Hamjin turns around. The one called the Devil God, Black Tomb, old devil. Yomgak is dying behind him, covered in intricate curse spells. Will you not move the flying magic artifact now? Please, disciple, please, please. Is it perhaps his final burst of energy? Devilish fire flares up from Black Tomb's entire body, as if he is planning to go down together. But at that moment, Hamjin feels a writhing sensation in his lower abdomen. Wriggle, wriggle, puwak. The next moment, from his lower abdomen, black darkness spews out in streams, and something pitch black emerges. Hamjin realizes what it is. It's his inner core, the mystical organ that the Wuji Ghost King had placed inside him, which had granted him the vision to see the flow of Taiji. And now Hamjin understands. Wriggle, wriggle. The inner core wriggles in midair, forming the shape of someone. It's a man in white. I see this inner core was your avatar, Infinite Fighting Ghost. No. Swallowing hard, he corrects the title for the man who has crawled out from his abdomen. Wuji Ghost King. It turns out Infinite Fighting Ghost was never just a subordinate of the Wuji Ghost King. The Wuji Ghost King himself had breathed a part of his soul into the being. Crag. The form of the man in white begins to change. Master thought the Wuji Ghost King was chasing us. It wasn't like that at all. The Wuji Ghost King had been hiding inside me all along. He now understands why he survived the explosion of the dragon vein. Creak. 18 heads sprout from the shoulders of the man with the benevolent appearance. Each head weeps bloody tears, and as the blood flows down, it blossoms into flowers of curses. Black Tomb, seeing the ghost that has torn out of Hamjin's abdomen, sheds a tear. In the end, he seems to have lost his mind from the fear and pain, letting out a hollow laugh. The ghost with 19 heads grasps Black Tomb's head. And that is the end. The laughing Black Tomb melts into a puddle of rotten water, leaving only a single spirit tablet behind. This is the end of the one who had kidnapped countless orphans, conducted numerous cruel experiments, and taken innumerable lives as if they were expendable. The final moments of Yu's final sage god. Black Tomb, old devil, Yomgak. Hamjin closes his eyes as the raindrops fall. Finally, he understands who the Wuji Ghost King truly is. They are the same person who had always protected him by his side, the Infinite Fighting Ghost. He smiles, understanding that the chill-inducing, terrifyingly grotesque Wuji Ghost King is an entity he can trust. I am free. The Wuji Ghost King glances briefly at Hamjin, and then raises the Jade Green Spirit Tablet. The buzzing Jade Green Spirit Tablet expresses rejection in the hands of the core formation stage Black Tomb, but it stops vibrating when held by the Ghost King. It's as if it acknowledges that they are sufficiently qualified to handle it. As they grasp the spirit tablet, it emits a jade-green light, scattering rays around. I supply energy to the gang sphere avatar and look around. Although it appears invisible to Ham Jin, the power of the jade-green spirit tablet is distorting the surrounding space and plane, forming a formation. This formation is. The formation creates a barrier that covers the surrounding area like a water droplet. Jiathing. While those with lower cultivation seem incapable of comprehending it, I realize that the formation has activated and separated this area from the decaying corpse realm. While the formation is active, this area has become an entirely different otherworld from the decaying corpse realm. I look at the sky and read the attraction force. The formation's attraction force is intertwining in the void, drawing strange patterns. This water droplet-like otherworld seems to have some specific function, but I can't discern what it is. I suppose some more research is necessary. This is something that a star-shattering esteemed one had tried to protect from Jang Ik. Further research might yield something interesting. I disperse the attraction force applied to the spirit tablet. As the spirit tablet loses its light, the formation deactivates. Simultaneously, the otherworld that was separated from the decaying corpse realm returns to its original state. I can feel the natural flow of heaven and earth spiritual energy harmonizing with this world once again. I nod and speak to Ham Jin. The inner core I bestowed upon you was my gang sphere clone, but now that all its power has been consumed, you will no longer be able to use the eyes that see heaven and earth spiritual energy. Will you be all right? It's all right. Instead, I've gained something even more precious, so I'm satisfied. Yes. I release my Ghost King transformation and pat Ham Jin's head. Freedom is a precious thing. Due to my celestial energy guidance, it will pour heavily in this vicinity for the next 3 days, so take your fellow disciples and seek shelter elsewhere, and keep this safe. I entrust the spirit tablet to him. As I need to study this, continue summoning me. I will assist you each time. Unfortunately, I am currently observing this world through the supervisory Jade rather than the void spirit pond, so I can't accept the spirit tablet myself. Instead, I will often descend to this world to study the tablet entrusted to Ham Jin. I must go now. It seems more guests have arrived at my home. I begin to withdraw my consciousness, and Ham Jin bows deeply to me. Thank you, Wuji Ghost King, no. Payet. Oh God. As I withdraw my consciousness, Ham Jin's bowing figure is the last thing I see. Welwung. Pazazazak. When I open my eyes, I am back in front of Seo Ran and Shiho. Sorry about that. It took a bit longer than expected. It's nothing. Was there something necessary to attend to in the lower realms? There was something I needed to take care of briefly, but more importantly, I'll go greet the guests and come back. Wait here for a moment. Yes, understood. Leaving Seo Ran and Shiho in the room, I exit the Wuji religious hall. Outside, shrimp, turtles, and seahorses from the aquatic demon race surround the Twilight Domain. Who are you people? My voice echoes throughout the entire Twilight Domain, causing them to flinch before shouting loudly. We are envoys sent on behalf of the ruler of the Jiangxi Domain, the governing Dragon Palace Lord Yuk Rin. You beings from another dimension have committed a grave disrespect by abducting and endangering the life of our Lord's daughter. Kneel and repent immediately, and release the Lord's daughter. The Lord's name is Yuk Rin, so does that mean the daughter's name is Yuk Yo? That's right. Bring the daughter out here at once. Our Lord's Dharma treasure has detected her life in danger. That profligate Koi who deceived Seo Ran and went around committing fraud without any protection is the Lord's daughter. How absurd. Though I find it somewhat ridiculous, I nod. After all, it's a mistake and disrespect on my part to have her torn apart by Shiho despite being a guest. I apologize for that. I will provide proper compensation. She is currently undergoing treatment, so once it's done, I will immediately send her back and offer appropriate. At that moment, I sense the shrimp demon beast sending a voice transmission to the turtle demon beast who was scolding me. The turtle demon then laughs and shouts, "There she is. Everyone attack. We must rescue Lady Yuk Yo and take her back." The aquatic demon beasts simultaneously launch an attack toward the honored guest room where Yuk Yo is staying. Quackakakabang. The honored guest room collapses, and I see the bodies of hard-working and diligent cursed dolls working inside getting damaged. Yuk Yo, who is receiving treatment, is visibly alarmed. When she sees the aquatic demon beasts floating in the air, she panics and starts to flee in the opposite direction. Lady Yukyo, where are you going? Kugaguguk. As the turtle demon beast stretches its foot towards her, a powerful attraction force forms and begins pulling Yukyo. Judging by the attraction force, it seems to be at the grand perfection 4-axis stage. However, I feel great displeasure and release my own attraction force to neutralize their power. Do you wish to die? I clearly stated I would return her after treatment, yet you destroy my order's building and harm my followers. Shut up. You recklessly invaded our sea domain and threatened the virtuous residents of Sacred Orchid Island, driving them all away. How dare you act like the victim? We threatened them, drove them all away. Kugaguguguk. I clench my teeth and activate my Ghost King transformation. You dare underestimate my religious order, assuming I am only at the 4-axis stage. You bastard, how dare you? Silence. Boom. Before the turtle demon can utter another word, I unleash the all-heaven sword, blowing him up instantly. The turtle demon at the grand perfection 4-axis stage explodes and dies. The complexions of the aquatic demon beasts surrounding the twilight domain turn pale. I was originally planning to apologize, but I have changed my mind. Have your lord come here and apologize directly for injuring the followers of my order and compensate them. If not, not only will Yukyo, who you claim is the lord's daughter, never return, but neither will any of you. When I reveal my menacing aura, they finally realize they made a mistake and quickly exchange glances. Then they scatter in all directions, fleeing in haste. Without moving myself, I open my mouth. Chief Law Protector, stop fiddling with your hand and capture those impudent fools immediately. I watch with my eyes gleaming as the soul of the recently killed turtle demon traverses through the plane of soul, returning to where it came from. This turtle demon will resurrect and relay my message to their lord. Therefore, the rest of these scoundrels will serve as hostages. I extend my hand towards Yukyo, who is fleeing in earnest in the distance. Yukyo is pulled towards me, and Jeon Myohoon, having received my command, soars into the sky. Quarvirung. Having reached the integration stage, he emits red lightning as he crosses his arms in the sky, then vanishes with a thunderous sound. He has gone to capture them. I look at Yukyo. I only intended to find Seo ran through you as you had his appearance and get a local guide while at it. Yukyo looks up at me with an extremely anxious face. But it seems you are quite the precious person. Reveal your true identity. That is. Just so you know, I'm in a rather unpleasant mood since my followers were injured. If you lie, I will kill you. Hyek. With a face full of terror, she begins to recount her background. I am actually from the governing dragon palace that governs the Weijiang Sea domain. My father is the grand cultivator Yuk Rin, the ruler of governing dragon palace. After my father bestowed upon me the title of princess, Chinese letter, he arranged a political marriage and intended to sell me off to the notorious pirate captain of the fighting ghost race, so I ran away 200 years ago. While she lied persistently even under threats before, she seems to be telling the truth, terrified to the point of fainting due to my Ghost King transformation. However, I am furious and emit ghost fire from my eyes. So, being the daughter of the Lord made you so bold. You think you can hide something until the very end, believing you will never die. She seems to be telling the truth, yet I sense she is still hiding something from me. Yukyo's face turns red. It seems there is an embarrassing truth as she's so reluctant to reveal it, but I'm still furious due to my followers being injured, and I no longer have the patience to be considerate of her. Unable to withstand my aura, she gasps and confesses the truth to me. The truth is, I infiltrated the fighting ghost race pirate gang employed by the governing dragon palace, stole a secret art from the pirate captain, and when he found out, he angrily demanded my father to hand me over. My father was outraged, saying, "Where is there such disgrace?" and tried to marry me off. I thought it was a story of rejecting a political marriage to seek love, but now, it turns out she was the one at fault from the start. Had that turtle not attacked first, I might have just handed her over. What kind of rogue is this? I ask, feeling incredulous. What secret art did you steal? It's the dragon form disguise method you saw earlier. In my opinion, it's not my fault, but rather the pirate captain's for leaving a secret art that supposedly turns someone into a true dragon upon great completion in a place so easy to steal. I seriously consider just apologizing to the governing dragon palace and handing over this delinquent fish. Why Jiangxi Domain? Governing Dragon Palace. Inside, a turtle demon with nascent soul stage cultivation is running frantically somewhere. This is the same turtle demon who had just been killed by Xiao Yunhaian and has now been resurrected. He rushes to the center of the palace. He bursts into the audience chamber to meet the palace lord and relays the recent events in detail. Shortly after hearing the full story from the turtle, governing Dragon Palace Lord Yuk Rin quivers with rage, exuding a menacing aura. Kagagugu. Being a grand cultivator at the integration stage, his anger makes the turtle cower and lower its gaze. That troublesome wretch is still causing me grief. Even if I set aside that brat, if the subordinates of governing Dragon Palace are taken hostage, the reputation of this palace will be ruined. He stands up with wrath, as if ready to head towards the Wuji religious hall immediately, but then he orders the turtle with a cautious look. But we can't rashly confront these unknown beings from another dimension. First, send a vanguard to gauge their strength, then I, the palace lord, will take action. Hear me, ministers. Kagagugu. His voice echoes throughout governing Dragon Palace. Announce to the entire sea domain. The daughter of governing Dragon Palace Lord, who has been bestowed the title of princess, has been captured by monsters from another dimension. Whoever rescues my subordinates and daughter, regardless of who they are, will marry the princess and succeed the governing Dragon Palace. At Yuk Rin's command, the demon beasts of governing Dragon Palace quickly move to convey his order across the sea domain, using transmission magic artifacts. And in less than half a day, numerous cultivators gather in front of governing Dragon Palace. Even the lowest cultivation level among them is at the heavenly being stage, and most are in the 4-axis stage, with even a grand cultivator in the early integration stage. The countless 4-axis stage cultivators looks at Yuk Rin with expectant expression. I heard the princess of governing Dragon Palace is exceptionally beautiful. And they say she's so kind and innocent, the rumors about her are widespread. She's known to be virtuous and mature, so rescuing her would mean securing the best bride. Haha, well that too, but if I heard correctly, rescuing the princess makes you the heir to the governing Dragon Palace. My heart's racing just thinking about it. Despite the various expectant voices, some remain silent. Among them is the only grand cultivator at the early integration stage present. The grand cultivator of the fighting ghost race and the infamous pirate captain across several sea domains, Jin Mayol, locks eyes with Yuk Rin in the audience chamber. Jin Mayol speaks to Yuk Rin. Lord Yuk Rin, I hope you keep your promise. His voice is small, drowned out by the noise of countless demon beasts, but Yuk Rin nods, acknowledging him. Having said his piece, Jin Mayol leaves the audience chamber without further explanation. Yuk Rin, with a sardonic smile, gives a brief explanation to the gathered 4-axis stage cultivators. Let me tell you in advance, those who rescue my subordinates, in addition to the princess, will be awarded titles of honor. Even if you do not directly rescue the princess, you will be rewarded handsomely if you contribute to her rescue. Yes. The 4-axis stage demons respond vigorously in unison. Now then, go quickly and rescue my daughter and subordinates, brave warriors. Hurry, so that my subordinates are not tortured by the monsters from another world. At his words, the numerous 4-axis and heavenly being cultivators use the flying escape technique and exit the room. However, Yuk Rin frowns as he looks at the last remaining person in the audience chamber. Surprisingly, the last remaining person has no discernible aura. At best, the aura is of the Chi building stage. What is this guy? Yuk Rin considers whether to crush this clueless insect to death, but then realizes that someone who can withstand his presence so effortlessly isn't an ordinary existence. Who are you? Why are you still here? At these words, the figure in black robes and wearing a bamboo hat grins. Greetings, Palace Lord. I've come to offer you a proposal. How dare? Kugagugaguk. Yuk Rin compresses the space around the insect to kill him. But in the next moment, boom boom, golden light flashes, and Yuk Rin's power is cleanly severed. He glares at the figure before him. My apologies. Your aura is so confusing that I had to check if you were an insect or not, so don't be too angry. Haha, that can happen. If we manage to rescue the princess and your subordinates, Can we request a different reward instead of marriage to the princess or a position? Ahem. Rin frowns. I never intended to actually reward them since they are just sent as cannon fodder. The only one he has any real expectations for is Jin Mayol at the early integration stage, but the reward is perfectly suited for him, so it isn't a major concern. But this person before me is dangerous. Where did someone like him come from? He tenses up as he asks, "What reward do you want?" It's nothing much. We recently conquered a sea domain, but to be recognized as its lord, we need acknowledgement from the neighboring domains. We hope the palace lord will assist in that recognition. At these words, Rin's eyes widen. I see. Are you perhaps a subordinate of the Conqueror King? Subordinate, you say. Let's call it a comrade relationship. So, will you accept? If I accept, does that mean the invincible fleet of the Conqueror King will enter my sea domain? Not the entire fleet. Only 1/3 of the fleet's strength will enter. Well, that's acceptable. But can just that really rescue my subordinates from the beings of another world? It's enough. After a moment of contemplation, Rin nods. Fine, go ahead. This will also be a good opportunity to observe the strength of the Conqueror King's forces. Thank you for the opportunity. Now if you'll excuse me. Step. As the black-clad figure walks out of the audience chamber, Rin speaks. Shouldn't you hurry? If someone else rescues the princess, I won't have any reason to keep my promise to you. It's fine. The figure with an old saber at his waist turns back and smiles. A hint of golden radiance seems to flash in his eyes. Because I'm the one here. As he walks out of the audience chamber, he disappears as soon as Rin blinks. Rin shudders in shock, realizing he hadn't seen the moment the figure moved. Dangerous, the Conqueror King's forces are. Taku. When he snaps his fingers, the floor of the audience chamber lights up, projecting a map of the entire Weijiang Sea domain as a hologram. The map displays real-time events occurring throughout the sea domain. Rin sees countless small holograms appearing in a corner of the sea domain. In the sky above the Weijiang Sea domain, an innumerable number of ships have appeared. Author's note: I parodied Schubert's U0026LT Erlk Neeg 0026GT. Honestly, I created the Ham Jin episode because I really wanted to try this parody. /// Discord https://dsc/gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 360, Is It Not a Joy to Have Friends Come From Afar? 4. Translator, Translating Novice. Editors, Z0rel Blue Mango Adat. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Based on the original structure, a mass-produced version derived from the Nether crossing ship. Commonly referred to as the Buk-Hyang Fleet, it is divided into 4 grade systems. First grade is the command ship, First Hyang Ship, where the captain resides. Up to now, 3 First Hyang ships have been produced, each 400 jang, tilde 1,300 m, long and 70 jang, tilde 230 m wide. They are directly connected to the power source of the Buk-Hyang Fleet, supplying power to the subordinate Second Hyang ships. The combat power of the First Hyang ship ranges from a maximum of grand perfection, heavenly being, to a minimum of the early heavenly being stage. Second grade is the Second Hyang ship, used in full-scale fleet battles. Up to now, 31 Second Hyang ships have been produced, each 100 jang, tilde 330 m, long and 10 jang, tilde 33 m, wide. These ships receive power from the First Hyang ships and supply it to the subordinate Third Hyang ships. The combat power of the Second Hyang ship ranges from a maximum of the early heavenly being stage to the minimum of mid-nascent soul stage. Third grade is the Third Hyang ship, created to support the Second Hyang ship in fleet battles and to command the Fourth Hyang ship. Up to now, 322 Third Hyang ships have been produced, each 60 jang, 200 m long and 7 jang, tilde 23 m wide. They process power received from the First Hyang ship and Second Hyang ship and deliver it to the Fourth Hyang ship. The combat power of the Third Hyang ship ranges from a maximum of grand perfection nascent soul to a minimum of the early nascent soul stage. Lastly, the flower of the Buk-Hyang Fleet that earned them the nickname Invincible Fleet in the ancient Force realm, the Fourth Hyang ship. Up to now, 6,027 Fourth Hyang ships have been produced, each 10 jang, tilde 33 m, long and 15 kai, tilde 5 m wide. The fourth Hyang ships have no set combat power, as they are not designed for battle. However, despite this, the Buck Hyang fleet is considered the strongest fleet because of the fourth Hyang ships. Excluding the first Hyang ship, the second Hyang ship and third Hyang ship exist solely to protect and control the fourth Hyang ship. The Buck Hyang fleet is not focused on combat power, and even with all 6,383 ships combined, their power only equates to the late 4-axis stage. Currently, with only about a third of their fleet, their combat power is roughly at the early to mid 4-axis stage. But on the command ship of the Buck Hyang fleet, the fleet commander standing at the bow of the first Hyang ship, a woman in white, looks relaxed. First Fleet will be divided into 5 squadrons of 200 ships each, seize control of the east, west, south, north, and the airspace of the target area, and prepare to create the sea circle. The second fleet will escort the first Hyang ship and move slowly towards the target area. 1 meal's worth of time, minutes before reaching the target, the 7th, 8th, and 9th squadrons of the second fleet will separate and prepare for sea turmoil. Only the 6th and 10th squadrons will remain for direct combat preparation. She quickly enters commands on the semi-transparent scroll floating in front of her, maneuvering the Buck Hyang fleet. Following her orders, the 2,000 ships move in perfect unison. After inputting several commands and issuing orders to the few crew members of the Buck Hyang fleet, she suddenly glances at the target area, towards the location where the monsters of another world have appeared. Why is this happening? She frowns. She, who has barely reached the nascent soul stage through consuming numerous spiritual elixirs in the ancient force realm, can no longer sense the celestial energy inherent to the Heaven tribe, losing her foresight and intuition. However, her gut feeling tells her that something significant will happen if they encounter those monsters. Thump thump. Is it tension or fear? She feels an unprecedented emotion as she gazes at the sea domain that is beginning to fill with ghostly energy. I contemplate how to deal with Yuk-Yo. This has become quite troublesome. Had I known this would happen, I would have interrogated Yuk-Yo first. If I had known about Yuk-Yo's identity and background, I would have simply thrown her to the governing dragon, Palace's demon beasts for punishment. But who could have predicted this turn of events? When I glare at Yuk-Yo with displeasure, she, despite being a koi, breaks out in a cold sweat and tries to change the atmosphere. Haha, by the way, Senior. It's embarrassing to ask, but if I offer you the dragon form disguise method, could you let me go? If I get caught by my father this time, given my father's personality, he will definitely marry me off to that savage pirate captain. I can't let that happen. That man will surely make carp stew out of me. She gives a long speech about the cruelty and savagery of Jin Mayol, the pirate captain of the fighting ghost race, but I just click my tongue. Her exaggerations are obvious. She exaggerates so much that it's clear she's lying. Cautiously, she asks me, I mean, Senior, aren't you really curious about the dragon form disguise method? Despite appearances, it's a famous and extraordinary technique derived from immortal arts. Immortal art, huh? I'm somewhat intrigued by her words. Show me the formula. At my words, Yuk-Yo quickly takes out a jade slip and appears to copy the formula before handing it over to me. As I read the jade slip, I frown. What is this? It's only the later half of the formula. If Senior helps me escape, I'll give you the first half as well. Getting caught by my father again is a bit. So she just doesn't want to marry the pirate captain. While observing Yuk-Yo, I discover something. She's afraid of something regarding her father, Yuk-Rin. Is there something she hasn't told me? However, I'm too annoyed to ask what else this troublesome koi had done, so I don't ask further. The first half of the dragon form disguise method involves obtaining the energy of a dragon and then nurturing it to mimic the dragon's form. The latter half covers how to maintain the mimicked form and describes the drawbacks of the dragon form disguise method. I carefully read through the second half. The drawbacks of the dragon form disguise method are as follows. Once you transform into a dragon, your original combat power, speed, stamina, and durability decrease, and it takes some time to release the spell and revert back to the original form. Moreover, if you remain transformed for too long, the personality of the form might erode your mind, leading to the mind becoming unstable. As I read through the second half of the formula, I feel something strange. Did you use this technique fully knowing what kind of technique it is? Pardon, isn't it a divine power that allows one to change species? That's correct, but do you understand how the process works? I didn't fully grasp the process, yet as my comprehension is a little low. I stroke one of my 19 jaws, my eyes gleaming. This is a type of curse. Pardon? A curse that overlays another's form onto your own. Similar to my yin soul ghost incantation, it seems that one must frequently experience transforming into another being to reach great completion in it. Are you saying it's not a technique to become a dragon? No, you do become a dragon. There are curses that have permanent effects. Specifically, this dragon form disguise method seems to refine oneself into a dragon through a curse. She seems to be enlightened, realizing something significant. Thank you, Senior. Having received a clue from me, she immediately sits in a lotus position, concentrating her consciousness. Her body starts to radiate a soft light, and her cultivation seems to rise slightly. I give Yo a glance before turning my eyes back to the second half of the dragon form disguise method. If this is a curse, can it be reversed like the yin soul ghost incantation or the black blood tears flower? For some reason, I have a hunch about what may happen if this curse is reversed. Woven, a technique that overlays another's form on your own, weakening you in the process. If reversed, it would become a technique that enhances one's strength while maintaining one's true form. I involuntarily become excited and reverse the latter half of the formula of the dragon form disguise method. Since the first half, which involves refining and nurturing the dragon's energy, is akin to setting the target, there's no problem reversing it as the target is now myself. Payet. A pale energy emanates from the dragon form disguise method, sweeping over my body. I examine myself. Nothing has changed. The true form I obtained when reaching the 4-axis stage. Currently, my form is that of a ghost king with 19 heads, obtained from Great Desert to Dead Sea. When I reach the integration stage, this reversed method of the dragon form disguise method might be quite useful. Creating a domain at the integration stage requires a clear sense of self. The enhancement effect of the dragon form disguise method doesn't hold much value for me. It might help ordinary heavenly being or 4-axis cultivators, but for someone like me who has obtained the 3 great ultimates, it doesn't bring much enhancement. At that moment, Qang, a massive light projectile strikes the barrier of the twilight domain. It's an attack equivalent to the grand perfection heavenly being stage. What kind of guests do we have now? I chuckle as I stand up from my seat. Yo, startled, quickly jumps up and hides inside the Wuji religious hall. I rise up into the air above the twilight domain, crossing my arms as I survey my surroundings. Numerous 4-axis and heavenly being cultivators densely cover the area. I glance over at Sacred Orchid Island beside the twilight domain. I don't know how, but a formidable expert has sneaked in without anyone noticing. An early integration stage, how troublesome. It's someone with exceptional stealth skill. Although it falls short compared to the record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts that I refined, it's still difficult to detect without focusing intently. Yet, judging by its nature, it's not something that can be used organically like the record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts, but rather a restricted stealth technique that requires a considerable wait before reuse. I quickly send a voice transmission throughout the entire Wuji religious order before shouting loudly. Who dares to intrude? Most of the 4-axis demon beasts around me flinch just from my appearance. I move my 19 heads, making cracking sounds as I ignite ghost fire in my 38 eyes. It's an appearance I genuinely don't like, but it's perfect for intimidating the enemy. In response to my threat, one of the 4-axis stage demon beasts steps forward and shouts, "Hand over Princess Yo, you monster from another world. The governing Dragon Palace Lord has declared that whoever rescues the princess will marry her and be named heir to governing Dragon Palace." Ho! Kugaguguk. I chuckle at those words, revealing my ghostly energy. As yin energy surges from my 19 heads, the surrounding sea domain quickly fills with ghostly energy. Kiyalia. Kuaya. Kayayak. Countless cursed dolls emerge from every corner of the twilight domain, making rattling noises and shrieking ghostly wails. Kagagugugu. The heaven and earth spiritual energy twists violently due to my attraction force, causing the entire nearby space to shake as if it will tear apart. The attraction forces of the four-axis stage cultivators are nullified by my power, causing some of them who are flying using attraction force to nearly fall from the sky. Their faces darken. They seem to roughly grasp my level of power. With ghost fire blazing in my 38 eyes, I speak. If you wish to die, come at me. Upon hearing my words, about 48 four-axis stage cultivators hesitate and retreat slowly, while the hundreds of heavenly being stage cultivators show signs of panic, contemplating escape. Good, I can resolve this peacefully. I smile inwardly. By giving them such a ferocious impression, they are likely to show reluctance and leave. Of course, I don't know about the hidden early integration stage cultivator, but dealing with just one of them will not be a problem. That's what I thought. Payet, Tadik. A gust of wind blows from afar, and a golden figure appears above the Wuji religious hall, standing with hands behind his back. A black bamboo hat and black martial robes, and an old saber hanging at his waist. Finally, an all too familiar heart essence. I stare at the man with blank eyes. Come to think of it, I had momentarily forgotten that he is in this world. Ignoring the rabble eyeing the twilight domain, I leap toward Kim Young-hoon, who landed on the roof of the Wuji religious hall. Quang! In my excitement, I failed to control my strength, slightly damaging the roof and raising a cloud of dust. Smiling broadly, I speak to him. It's been a long time, Hyung-nim. And then, he looks at me with a hesitant expression. Do I know you? Now that I think about it, it becomes harder to read the heart essence of those who reach first step before the throne due to the compression of heart essence. Laughing heartily, I say, Haha Hyung-nim, it's me Seo Yoon-hyan. Kim Young-hoon glares at me upon hearing that. You're saying you're Seo Yoon-hyan. Well, sorry, but since coming to the ancient force realm, I've met quite a few imitators who read others' memories and mimicked them like scum. Haha Hyung-nim, it's really me. I remember everything from when you first guided me when I first joined the department to the outings, hiking, and the first day we fell into the head realm, even the sparring with your avatar. Despite my words, Kim Young-hoon does not erase his suspicious look and asks. The Seo Yoon-hyan I met last time with my avatar wasn't a lunatic who plucked others' heads and planted their skulls on his shoulders, you know. Oh Hyung-nim, it's a misunderstanding. I laugh heartily and dispel my Ghost King transformation. No, I try to. Oh. The Ghost King transformation does not dissolve. I am momentarily flustered, but soon find the reason. Dragon form disguise method. The curse of the dragon form disguise method that I reversed to test the technique is covering my body, fixing my current appearance. It will take some time to dispel the spell. With a slightly suspicious face, Kim Young-hoon asks. To me, it looks like you, a monster of at least the integration stage, devoured my younger brother and subordinate and is now mimicking him. Haha, if that's the case, why do you not attack me? Kim Young-hoon grins widely. To confirm whether you're really Seo Yoon-hyan or a monster mimicking him. Woo-wung. Golden light arises from his saber. There's only one way to find out after all. His eyes gleam. Come at me? If you're Seo Yoon-hyan, we'd spar anyway. If you're a monster that devoured him, I'd have to cut you down regardless. Ha, fine. Yes, meeting him like this is indeed the best. I draw out the colorless glass sword from my mouth. The fight with Hong Suryong, it's been about 700 years. During the fight with her, each colorless glass sword was at the level of a mid-grade magic artifact. In the centuries that followed, the colorless glass sword was slowly refined in my danfire. In 100 years, it evolved from a mid-grade magic artifact to a high-grade magic artifact. In another 100 years, it progressed from a high-grade magic artifact to a top-grade magic artifact. After another 100 years, it finally became a Dharma treasure at the core formation level. In the 200 years following that, it advanced from a core formation level Dharma treasure to a Dharma treasure of grand perfection core formation level. That was the state of every colorless glass sword at the end of the last cycle, and after 230 years of refinement in this cycle. Finally, each and every one of my colorless glass swords have become Dharma treasures at the nascent soul level. Boo-wung. The colorless glass swords vibrate. Ch Wararak. 3,000 colorless glass swords merge into groups of 10 in the air. 3,000 becomes 300. The Dharma treasures at the nascent soul level, then becomes Dharma treasures at the grand perfection nascent soul level. 300 becomes 30. The Dharma treasures at the grand perfection nascent soul level, then becomes Dharma treasures at the heavenly being level. 30 became 3. The Dharma treasures at the heavenly being level, then becomes Dharma treasures at the grand perfection heavenly being level. Finally, 3 merge into 1, revealing the final form of the colorless glass sword. The form of all heavens is displayed. Payet. The Dharma treasures at the grand perfection heavenly being level have risen to the level of an out-of-standard Dharma treasure used by 4-axis stage cultivators. My glass sword, refined for thousands of years in Dan fire, is now at the level of an out-of-standard Dharma treasure in terms of pure strength and inherent sharpness, even without activating its Dharma treasure functions. Compared to my weapon, isn't that saber of yours too poor? Regardless of how equal the martial arts skills are, it's common for differences to arise due to the quality of the weapons. No matter what, I think that a single old iron saber is just too weak compared to an out-of-standard Dharma treasure. Yet Kim Young-hoon, without showing any tension, places his hand on his old saber while looking at my sword. Woeng. Seeing him, my eyes light up. It isn't just a simple saber. In the ancient force realm, there are so many treasures lying around in the sea that I picked up a hobby. Spatial waves emanate from his old saber, and the saber begins to emit light. Simultaneously, around him and me. Above the roof of the Wuji religious hall, dozens to hundreds of sabers and swords are embedded. What he holds is a storage artifact in the form of a saber. These are the infamous devil swords, Chinese letter, and demon sabers, Chinese letter, of the ancient force realm. They are some of my cherished collections. Let me ask you in return. TSD. Golden radiance flashes in his eyes. I let out a hollow laugh as I sensed the demonic energy, devilish energy, and ghostly energy from the surroundings. The blade intent of these wicked swords and sabers are all connected to Kim Young-hoon. He has successfully dominated all these sinister demonic blades. Against these infamous swords and sabers of the ancient force realm, are you confident with just that single ordinary-looking sword? I just grin. Well then, Kung. I step forward. Now no more words are unnecessary. Kim Young-hoon and I clash, and in that instant, the 4-axis stage cultivators who have been hesitating all charge towards the Twilight Domain. Hyuk-jin, a demon cultivator of the Jiangxi domain, bares his pointed teeth and charges towards the Twilight Domain. The cursed dolls try to block him, but it's useless. Ha ha ha, you wicked beings, hand over your treasures and glory to this elder. And as he breaks through the barrier of the Twilight Domain and enters inside, Quang, he is flung away by a massive figure. Kug, who dares? Then he sees a single being. A giant god with starlight emanating from its entire body. The giant god raises a purple aura from its body and roars. No one shall set foot inside here. Ohian Siak, the soul-extinguishing ghost king of the Wuji religious order, leads the 13 guardian ghost kings to defend the Twilight Domain. The right law protector and the guardian ghost kings clash with the heavenly being and 4-axis stage cultivators targeting the Twilight Domain. The early integration stage, grand cultivator hiding in sacred Orchid Island. Jin Mayol emerges from his hiding and enters the Twilight Domain. He searches for Yuk Yo with a fishy smile on his face. While those maggot fools stall for time, I'll find Yuk Yo and the hostages and take them away. He flies towards the place where he felt Yuk Yo's presence. Is it here? Kwang. He finds a building and immediately distorts and tears apart the space surrounding it. Inside the building, a trembling Yuk Yo and a somewhat haggard-looking man who is gently caressing a fried hand are present. Here you are, princess, let's go together. Ignoring the haggard-looking man, he approaches Yuk Yo. But in the next moment, chills. Jin Mayol steps back in shock. What was that just now? He suddenly saw a vision of his entire body being fried. Jin Mayol locks eyes with the haggard-looking man, whom he suspects had sent the vision. So, you're the one protecting the hostages. Then, the man who is tenderly caressing the hand suddenly contorts his face into a malevolent evil spirit. Are you the one who interrupted my time with Sohee? What? You bastard, I'll fry you to death, leaving only your hands. Thus, Jin Mayo collides with the chief law protector of the Wuji religious order. Six Extremes ghost King Jian Myohun clashes with him. Guardian law protector Hong Fan and left law protector Kim Yon are monitoring the barrier and observing the situation throughout the entire Twilight domain from the basement of the Wuji religious hall. At that moment, Hong Fan looks up at the sky. What is this? Please stay here for a moment, Hong Fan. With a serious expression, Kim Yon exits the underground of the Wuji religious hall. Kagagagugugu. The sky is changing. What is that? Kim Yon's expression darkens. It's exactly as it seems. The four directions in the sky above the Twilight domain. Hundreds of ships are forming a barrier, pulling in the sea and enveloping the surroundings. Isn't this seawater said to be a kind of dimension? Recalling information regarding the ancient force realm, Kim Yon bites her lip. Because of those ships, the Twilight domain is trapped like a soap bubble due the sea, which is akin to a dimensional canopy. Kim Yon sends a voice transmission to Hong Fan. Hong Fan, please take care of managing and protecting the Twilight domain. I will go and destroy that barrier. She knows instinctively. If that barrier is completed, something big will happen. With that, Kim Yon leaps into the sky, reaching out towards the dimensional barrier. And at that moment, Kyuang, she squints against the beam of light that came from somewhere. Who is it? Kagagagugugu. She sees a massive warship entering the interior of this dimensional soap bubble. The cannons of the warship are aimed at Kim Yon. She immediately realizes. The owner of that warship is the one who created this barrier. Tet. With a burst of pink light, Kim Yon flies towards the hundreds of ships. I must subdue that person. Pet. Her figure stands before the fleet, blocking their advance. On the command ship of the fleet. In the command room of the first Hyang ship, the fleet commander, Buk Hyang Hwa, and the left law protector of the Wuji religious order, Kim Yon. Their gazes collide in midair. // Discord https://dsc.gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 361. Is it not a joy to have friends come from afar? 5. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 361. Is it not a joy to have friends come from afar? 5. Tung. A man holding a golden blade and a ghost king with 19 heads take a step forward. The man with the golden blade. Kim Young-hoon steadies his breath. The realm he has reached. From the realm referred to by the Heart tribe of the Bright Cold realm as the first step before the throne, the method of combat changes drastically compared to the previous realms. In the days they used to be ordinary peak masters, they used to exchange thousands of moves virtually through well-honed intent, optimizing their movements to strike their opponent within this imaginary bout. But from their current realm onwards, they no longer use such methods. Because it's unnecessary. Tung. Once again they draw closer. Kim Young-hoon's eyes burn with a golden light, and the eyes of Seo Yoon-hyun from his 19 heads blaze with a chilling flare. It begins with Kim Young-hoon. He executes a simple horizontal slash, immediately following it with an upward slash, creating a crosscut. A slash that tears through time. But that is just the beginning. A golden storm erupts from him. Every single one is one of Kim Young-hoon's saber strikes. In response, Seo Yoon-hyun wields his transparent sword. His sword flows like waves, at times like a storm, countering Kim Young-hoon's golden waves. At their level, there is no need to match imaginary blows, because both have reached a realm where they can realize their imaginations. Kyojujuduk. A colorless and gold storm rages, pulverizing a corner of Wuji religious hall's roof to dust. Piercing through that storm, Seo Yoon-hyun's dark grasp clenches towards Kim Young-hoon. Kim Young-hoon's eyes glint as he swings his saber in the air, scattering golden rays at the black hand. The rays seem to repel the black hand, extending across the Twilight domain. In the next moment, countless rays of light from the entire Twilight domain descend upon Seo Yoon-hyun. It's as if innumerable arrows of light are striking the Ghost King of Darkness. Each ray scattered by Kim Young-hoon is a gang sphere, and countless gang spheres imbued with the enlightenment of surpassing radiance pours onto Seo Yoon-hyun. Though it appears that Kim Young-hoon is maintaining the upper hand in the first clash, His face remains tense as he twitches his fingers. Some of the gang's fears pouring down on Seo Yun-hyan follow his will, retrieving the demon sabers and devil swords he has scattered on the roof. After confirming that his weapons are back under his control, Kim Young-hoon retreats without hesitation. In the next moment, something that seems to contain all of heaven's natural colors sweeps through the spot where Kim Young-hoon had stood, moving so fast that even sound can't keep up. He feels goosebumps all over his body and heightens his focus. Then, amidst the baptism of golden radiance, the ghost king of darkness emerges with blazing eyes. Bo-young. Kim Young-hoon senses Seo Yun-hyan disappear in an instant. Record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts. Sharpening his consciousness like a blade, he reads everything around him. In a split second, he senses a movement in the plane of soul and launches his surpassing radiant saber towards it. The all-heaven sword suddenly appears from the void and clashes with the surpassing radiant saber. Kyuwang. Blood spurts from Kim Young-hoon's 7 orifices. It's the result of focusing solely on defending by letting the force flow through, using a talent that even the word heavenly would not do justice. Gradually, the surroundings darken. Their minds have accelerated to a level where even sound is left far behind. And within the brief instant, akin to a gap in time, Kim Young-hoon makes a swift decision. I can't take it head-on. He quickly pulls out a talisman from his bosom and hastily sticks it to his body. His entire body rapidly regenerates. Normally, Kim Young-hoon is a martial artist who enjoys fair and square martial duels, always preferring direct confrontations. This is even more so when facing opponents at the integration level, such as integration stage demon kings or grand cultivators. Each of them is like a small dimension, a subspace with its own will. They are natural disasters, and before them, Kim Young-hoon is like an ant. So how does an ant confront a natural disaster? By reading the flow of the natural disaster, incorporating all its forces into his calculations, and tracing the source of power. Then, with the body of an ant, slashing through the natural disaster to reach and sever the source of power. Natural disasters possess terrifying power, but the ant wielding an iron stick could calculate all the paths and trajectories needed to cut through the disaster, making a miracle possible. However, Kim Young-hoon stares at the monster before him. When facing natural disasters, he would wield a toothpick through the gaps in the natural disaster along the optimal path to confront them. But the opponent before him is no different from a natural disaster, wielding all its power within a toothpick at the same level as himself. In a fleeting moment, the all-heaven sword scatters once again. Kim Young-hoon became a streak of light, using all his strength to dodge even the slightest touch of the sword. He finally made up his mind. Fight fairly as a martial duel. Humans might be able to face natural disasters honorably. Even when disasters cover the sky and shake the ground, disasters cannot specifically target humans. Thus, humans can survive and become stronger within them. But what if a natural disaster wearing human skin chases after them to kill? What if a disaster that couldn't originally target insects starts moving like an insect, precisely targeting and persistently chasing after them? Kim Young-hoon steps on the air and moves his body from the sky to the ground of the twilight domain to dodge. Likewise, Seo Yun-hyan closely follows Kim Young-hoon as expected. Boing. He erases the word direct confrontation from his mind. Kim Young-hoon hides between the buildings of the Wuji religious order. He plans to ambush Seo Yun-hyan while moving between the buildings. However, he looks up at the sky for a moment. 3,000 colorless glass swords are shining in the sky, imbued with the all-heaven sword. The swords begin to fall. While desperately dodging the swords with all his might, Kim Young-hoon reads their intention. They're hurting me. And as he dodges the baptism of the all-heaven sword, he meets Seo Yun-hyan's eyes emerging from an alley ahead. Before he has a chance to escape, Seo Yun-hyan raises his right hand. In his hand is a sword containing all of heaven's natural colors. Boing! The next moment, the twilight domain splits in half. This guy, does he not even care if his own territory gets destroyed? Kim Young-hoon, barely dodging Seo Yun-hyan's strike, reached out into the air with a look of disbelief. Kim Young-hoon's collection. Dark oil saber, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Balancing wind, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Piet. As soon as he grasps the demon's saber, A dark aura emanates from it under Kim Young-hoon's will, quickly engulfing the surroundings. When Kim Young-hoon flips the blade of balancing wind, the surrounding dark aura begins to shine. The aura imbued with yin energy reverses to yang energy, causing an explosion. Kim Young-hoon and Seo Yoon-hyun each take different actions as they watch the explosion in the darkened world. Kim Young-hoon quickly retreats, while Seo Yoon-hyun manipulates the colorless glass swords around him to grind down the yang energy induced by balancing wind, extinguishing the explosion before looking at Kim Young-hoon. Kuwung. With a single step, Seo Yoon-hyun closes the distance on Kim Young-hoon. Kim Young-hoon and Seo Yoon-hyun collide. Kagagugugu. Countless rays of light tangle in the frozen time. And within that, Kim Young-hoon's grip bursts multiple times, and his innards are vigorously shaken. Split. He retreats, swallowing blood. Tayet. Once again, he takes out a regeneration talisman and sticks it to his body, gritting his teeth and gesturing with his fingers. His gangsphere clone brings him the devil's sword hidden gem, Chinese letter. Once again, Seo Yoon-hyun uses the record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts. Kim Young-hoon heightens his senses to the brink of overload, barely locating Seo Yoon-hyun's position, and slashes upwards with hidden gem. Ji-yang. Kim Young-hoon's devil sword hidden gem, imbued with the surpassing radiant saber. And Seo Yoon-hyun's colorless glass sword, imbued with the all-heavens sword. The two swords collide, and shockwaves spread in all directions. The nearby buildings of the Wuji religious order are uprooted and thrown in all four directions by the shockwave. This time, Kim Young-hoon does not spurt blood from his orifices. Instead, his devil's sword shatters into pieces. Seo Yoon-hyun smirks and sends him a heart message. What is this now, a straw stick? Seo Yoon-hyun then thrusts the colorless glass sword towards Kim Young-hoon, whose sword has broken. Kim Young-hoon quickly takes out the demon saber, clearing C, Chinese letter, to block the colorless glass sword. Kwajijik. Once again, Kim Young-hoon's demon saber inevitably shatters, scattering into countless shards. Internally shedding tears of blood, Kim Young-hoon summons numerous demon sabers and devil swords through his sword control technique. The devil's sword expansive rock shatters into pieces under Seo Yoon-hyun's upward strike. The demon saber ruin is split in half by the horizontal slash of the colorless glass sword. The spirit sword annihilation is bitten and broken by Seo Yoon-hyun's mouth while descending. The black saber starry night bends like a bow while defending against Seo Yoon-hyun's body slam. Quang. Unable to withstand the impact of the body slam, Kim Young-hoon vomits blood from his entire body as he is thrown into the battlefield of other four-axis stage cultivators. Seeing his beloved blades being utterly destroyed, he feels as if a house he had bought with his lifetime's worth of retirement savings has been blown up and obliterated by some insane bomber. Tadit. Yet there's no time to even dwell in misery as Seo Yoon-hyun starts rushing towards him. Dujijujido. Kim Young-hoon hastily searches for a regeneration talisman and sticks it on his body before quickly leaping upwards and landing on the shoulder of a starlight giant that is simultaneously confronting 6 cultivators at the four-axis stage. He then takes out his beloved weapons again. Seo Yoon-hyun approaches and extends his hand. His hand, fused with the all-heavens sword, narrowly grazes the top of Kim Young-hoon's head. Kim Young-hoon throws the extinction sword True Soul to buy time, and moves to the starlight giant's knee to dodge. Seo Yoon-hyun swats away the extinction sword True Soul with his hand, breaking it like a straw and discarding it. A nearly frozen world. In that space, they fight, using the bodies of other cultivators as terrain. Seo Yoon-hyun's sword stretches out across heaven and earth and the four directions, trying to trap Kim Young-hoon, while Kim Young-hoon's saber evades his sword like a bird. Kim Young-hoon flows like a river, avoiding the four-axis cultivators who are attacking the Twilight Domain, and moves outside the barrier of the Twilight Domain. Seo Yoon-hyun follows, smashing through the bodies of the frozen four-axis cultivators, pursuing Kim Young-hoon. Kim Young-hoon grasps the divided Saber One spirit, infusing it with his energy. In an instant, divided Saber One spirit emits light, creating 108 identical clones of Kim Young-hoon. These are intricate clones, on a different level from the Gang Sphere clone. Seo Yoon-hyun moves the all-heavens sword. Chwarara. Like a hedgehog revealing its quills, spikes of light shoot out from around Seo Yoon-hyun. Puff, puff, puff. The sword strike that had killed a 4-axis stage cultivator in one blow now shatters Kim Young-hoon's clones. Taking advantage of this gap, the real Kim Young-hoon focuses his mind. This time, he doesn't use a devil sword or demon saber. He solely sharpens his consciousness and takes a stance. In this fleeting moment with his mind composed, Kim Young-hoon's eyes burn. His heart essence compresses like a line. Single strike of the first step before the throne. Todd. Re-entering the depths of the Twilight Domain, Kim Young-hoon takes his stance, drawing on a lifetime's worth of concentration with the taut intensity of a bowstring holding an arrow. Kwajik. As Seo Yoon-hyan shatters Kim Young-hoon's last clone, their eyes meet. Seo Yoon-hyan's 38 eyes burn with ghost fire, and Kim Young-hoon's eyes burn with a golden radiance. In the dark, still world, their gazes cross, and in the next moment, Seo Yoon-hyan sees a golden peng bird charging at him. And Kim Young-hoon sees the 3 great ultimates rising behind Seo Yoon-hyan. A flash of light, and a moment later, Seo Yoon-hyan becomes the sword. His heart essence also compresses, becoming the single strike of the first step before the throne. The sword that Seo Yoon-hyan has become rushes at Kim Young-hoon, smashing the peng bird and reaching right in front of him. However, the next moment, Seo Yoon-hyan locks eyes with Kim Young-hoon, who has taken the stance for continuous strikes. Kim Young-hoon smiles in the darkness. Boeung. Seo Yoon-hyan flinches. He can understand up to continuous strikes. But he knows this is a triple consecutive strike. Kwajijik. Within the continuous single strikes, Seo Yoon-hyan succeeds in destroying the peng bird. But he can't help but show a gap by the 3rd continuous first step before the thrown single strike. Kwajijuduk. Kim Young-hoon's all-out slash pierces Seo Yoon-hyan's opening. A golden wound is left on Seo Yoon-hyan's body. Yet Kim Young-hoon does not continue to attack Seo Yoon-hyan, but retreats with all his might. It's shallow. It isn't that Kim Young-hoon slashed carelessly, nor had Seo Yoon-hyan leaked any power. It's simply the all-heaven sword flowing through his body, that bizarre circuit, his naturally thick skin, the protective body force of his late 4-axis stage cultivation, and among other factors that prevented Kim Young-hoon's blade from properly penetrating. As Kim Young-hoon quickly retreats, he notices those who move slowly even in the still world where he and Seo Yoon-hyan reside. The 6-armed god, scattering lightning from his entire body, and the notorious pirate Captain Jin Ma-yeol, swinging his chained sickle while using a semi-transparent stealth technique. The 2 grand cultivators at the integration stage are moving, albeit slowly, even in Kim Young-hoon and Seo Yoon-hyan's world. Kim Young-hoon climbs onto the shoulder of the 6-armed giant, taking a moment to catch his breath, and grits his teeth. I need to steady my breath. 0.1 seconds. That is enough. But in their world, that amount of time is enormous, and Kim Young-hoon decides he needs to briefly hide. His gaze turns to the sea circle formed by the Baekhyang fleet, a dimensional barrier formed by the sea of the ancient force realm. I'll step out briefly to catch my breath. He makes a quick decision and looks at Seo Yoon-hyan. Kagagugugu. Seo Yoon-hyan, with the 3 great ultimates on the back of his head, is rushing towards Kim Young-hoon at an insane speed. In the next moment, Kim Young-hoon launches a slash at Seo Yoon-hyan. Becoming a streak of light, he flies towards the sea circle. Kwayang. The flying Seo Yoon-hyan directly tears through Kim Young-hoon's slash, but loses control of his speed, colliding with Jeon Myo-hoon and bursting the upper part of the giants apart. Now, Kim Young-hoon's eyes shine as he sees Seo Yoon-hyan, apologizing to Jeon Myo-hoon for a lengthy 0.01 seconds. Pod. His speed increases. Compressing his heart essence once more, he overlays his body with the single strike of first step before the throne. At some point, he reaches a place where neither light nor sound can touch him, finally feeling the dimension below his feet. Wu-wung. He moves faster and faster until his physical body transcends the plane for an instant. Kim Young-hoon moves in the distant void. Payet. Finally, Kim Young-hoon returns to reality. He is outside the sea circle formed by the Baekhyang fleet. Who? Catching his breath, he takes out his treasured weapons and a regeneration talisman, sticking them all over his body. The sea circle formed by the Baekhyang fleet is literally a barrier using dimensions. It's a state similar to several grand cultivators' domains overlapping, making it almost impossible to simply exit. Only by becoming so fast that one momentarily transcends dimensions like Kim Young-hoon could one overcome this insurmountable wall. And just as Kim Young-hoon is about to leisurely catch his breath for 0.1 seconds, Kyuang, the sea domain shakes as Seo Yun-hyan smashes through a corner of the sea circle. The three great ultimates are spinning furiously behind him, and Kim Young-hoon stares at Seo Yun-hyan in a daze. Was it really supposed to just pop open like that? Momentarily letting out a hollow laugh, Kim Young-hoon stops catching his breath and readies for battle once more. Weighing. Grabbing the demon sword Kirin, Kim Young-hoon draws upon its power. For just an instant, I'll increase the weapon's lifespan. He fiercely spins his thoughts, creating a new martial art to overcome this situation. TSD. His eyes follow Seo Yun-hyan, tracing Seo Yun-hyan's circuits. Just like the circuits covering Seo Yun-hyan's entire body, something resembling veins of golden light begin to spread through the devil's sword he holds. It's fundamentally different from something like the external inner core. It's a martial art that mimics the characteristics of the opponent he is fighting, elevating the weapon's potential by another level. Of course, Seo Yun-hyan's circuits have countless functions such as recovery, defense, attack, amplification, stealth, tracking, and cleanliness, but Kim Young-hoon can only imitate one function. Since it's impossible to perfectly mimic the circuits developed by a genius like the Mad Lord after seeing it only once, the function he copies is only one. The function to amplify the weapon's performance. Quajuduk. The demon's sword begins to tremble. Simultaneously, the energy of the sword grows even denser. Kim Young-hoon feels his chest burn. My precious collection. Unlike Seo Yun-hyan's circuits, which have no side effects when used, the veins engraved through this martial art has a drawback. The amplification through these veins burn the weapon's potential, rendering it unusable after a single attack. Kim Young-hoon wields the amplified demon sword, imbued with the enlightenment of surpassing radiance, towards Seo Yun-hyan. Kyuang. The shockwave reverberates, twisting the deep sea of the nearby sea domain. However, for the first time, Kim Young-hoon, who has consistently had his blades shattered and been pushed back, manages to withstand Seo Yun-hyan's single strike. Though these are infamous devil swords and demon sabers known throughout the sea domain, only by drawing out all their potential and causing them to go berserk can he block Seo Yun-hyan's single strike. Gripping the evil saber grief, he unleashes its potential once more and swings from the upper left to the lower right, while Seo Yun-hyan counters from the lower left with the all-heaven sword overlaying his bare hands. Kim Young-hoon recalls his memories with his beloved weapons. Snatched from an integration stage cultivator, the natal dharma treasure of a grand cultivator, the evil sword grief, the ancient demon sword dazzling light, found in an underground labyrinth, the precious ghost sword supreme Evi, found in the embrace of an integration-level deep-sea monster, the devil's sword sacred axes, forged from the axes of 1,000 four-axis stage cultivators. These distinguished blades, which would make even integration stage cultivators drool over them, are being grinded down before Seo Yun-hyan. But regardless, by grinding down his blades, he is managing to put up something resembling a fight against Seo Yun-hyan. Of course, in return, his strength is rapidly depleting. Spurt. He clenches his teeth, squeezing out his meridians. Despite being a life-or-death situation, a smile never leaves his lips. Yes, I've already known. Though it's hard to discern heart essence when reaching this realm, some parts can still be seen to some extent. Hence, even though he was suspicious of the monster in front of him, he had somewhat figured out that it was Seo Yun-hyan from the start. However, he deliberately provoked him because he wanted to have a sincere spar. Has it been 200 years since I met this guy? Though he thought himself a genius, he can feel himself becoming humble upon seeing him. Reaching the four-axis stage as a heaven tribe, reaching the four-axis stage as an earth tribe. Moreover, it's not even the early stage but the late stage, with attraction force and power. Even his martial arts have reached the same level as his. Just what kind of monster is this? That must be a real genius. Kim Young-hoon feels humbled, grinding down all his possessions to continually clash with Seo Yun-hyan. And before long, he notices the demon sabers within his reach gradually diminishing. Damn, I'm squandering my entire fortune in a single duel. Tuong. His and Seo Yun-hyan's sword clash for a moment. There is a slight pause between them, and Kim Young-hoon's eyes light up. I have to end it with this strike. Tizizit. He pulls out his most cherished, beloved weapon, which he had kept hidden until the very last moment of last moments. The name of the beloved weapon is Radiant Saber, Chinese letter, Ryan, Chinese letter/wheel. Though it has less fame compared to the notorious devil swords and demon sabers, it's a saber Kim Young-hoon had taken from a grand perfection integration stage grand cultivator, possessing the most suitable ability for him. The ability of Radiant Blade Ryan is simple. Regardless of the user, it triples the wielder's speed for 1 second. His heart essence compresses once more. Noticing Kim Young-hoon's momentum, Seo Yoon-hyan also begins to compress his heart essence. Yetting. The 3 great ultimates behind him begin to shine brilliantly. The next moment, Paseg. Seo Yoon-hyan's eyes light up, and finally, his dragon form disguise method is released. Holding the All-Heaven sword, he begins to perform a sword dance. It's a sword dance imbued with the single strikes of the first step before the throne. Normally, the single strike of the Heart Tribe's first step before the throne consumes all the user's energy and focus. Thus, most of the Heart Tribe would be in a near-death state after using single strike until they become accustomed to it. But what happens when the Heaven Tribe and Earth Tribe rise to the first step before the throne? Through their unique recovery abilities and the endless absorption of energy through celestial energy guidance, they can recover in an instant even if they reach a near-death state. Therefore, thanks to their unique recovery abilities and life force, the Heaven and Earth Tribes can execute the single strike of first step before the throne several times, unlike the Heart Tribe. Then what about Seo Yoon-hyan, who possesses the cultivation of Heaven, Earth, and Puppet? Seo Yoon-hyan prepares the Severing Mountain swordsmanship's ultimate move, Severing Mountain. A strike that bombards the opponent with over 20 techniques, causing an explosion. Payet. Kim Young-hoon vanishes into the beam of light, and in an instant, a peng bird appears. Seo Yoon-hyan unfolds his 8 wings. The body of Starlight and the puppet circuit vibrate. He covers his entire body with the hazy mist of the canvas of myriad forms and connections. I can feel it. It's clear to him. He can feel that the Kim Young-hoon before his eyes also intends to deliver his final strike, having fully accelerated his saber. He must also be pouring all his power into each move used in Saber Tomb to confront me. Seo Yoon-hyan smiles. How about this time? Will he be able to properly surpass Kim Young-hoon this time? No, that's not it. Seo Yoon-hyan believes in his own martial arts that he has been training until now. He believes in the history of his endless practice. He believes in the ill fate that endlessly showered misfortune upon him, but ultimately saved him. His sword resounds. From the profound realization of the 22nd move, Severing Mountain, more were added with later enlightenments. Endless mountains beyond mountains, which ensures the momentum never changes. Foolish Old Man moves mountains, which not only maintains the momentum but increases it. Sea of Righteousness and Mountain of Grace, which unifies enlightenment. One Annihilation to the near shore, which explodes power from the Sea of Righteousness and Mountain of Grace. Guiding to the summit, which reverses the opponent's strength. 12,000 Peaks, the pinnacle of the sword formation. Boundless Tao to the other shore, which gathers and releases all the power of one Annihilation to the near shore. And Deep Mountain, emerging Tao, which moves the sword from a higher plane to a lower plane, increasing the sword force. All the history and fate of his martial path, that he arduously crawled up with his limited talent, bursts forth from his hands. His opponent is the incarnation of true martial arts, Chinese letter. Saber Tomb, a golden peng bird, and the history of a slow-witted dullard clash in the sky. Severing Mountain, and the entire sea domain trembles. The light subsides. Kim Young-hoon, covered in blood, looks at his beloved blade with trembling hands. The saber he had saved until the very end of very ends. The demon sword specialized for speed. Radiant Saber Ryan, except for the hilt, the blade is gone. He looks around. He is on top of some deep-sea monster's corpse. It seems the deep-sea monster was caught up and killed in the fight between Seo Yoon-hyan and Kim Young-hoon. Its entire body is shredded with sword and blade marks. It appears to be a kind of mimic monster that reads memories and mimics them as illusions, as countless crude illusions are rising from the corpse of the deep-sea monster. The illusions form forests and mountains. Maybe because the deep-sea monster primarily mimicked mountainous demon beasts, the emerging illusions are of huge cliffs, great mountains, and peaks. Kim Young-hoon lets out a hollow laugh. His voice doesn't come out well, but he squeezes it out and speaks the words he intends to say. Your victory, Seo Yoon-hyun. Having finished his words, Kim Young-hoon collapses forward at the feet of Seo Yoon-hyun, who is holding the colorless glass sword before him. Despite his defeat, despite having lost all his cherished weapons and wealth, his expression isn't bad at all. I was too reliant on external objects. Yes, thanks to you I could grasp the clue to the next realm. With that, he falls asleep with a smile amidst countless illusions of great mountains. Gasping for breath, I place the colorless glass sword into my storage scroll with trembling hands. I don't even have the energy to store it within the Dan fire. Though all the volcanic power in my body has been completely drained, I don't care. I won. I defeated him. That is enough. I collapse onto the corpse of the grotesque creature. I need to stop them. Far away. I look at the battle, unfolding in the twilight domain, with a hollow laugh. Energy is returning to my body again, but I can't intervene immediately. It will take around half the time it takes to drink a cup of tea for my body to recover. TL/N. The time to drink a cup of tea is tilde 15 min, but it is also used to express a short time. Well, still they won't lose. My faith in my comrades is not shallow, and I have no worries that they will get overrun by the thugs of the ancient force realm. The only concern is Kim Yoon, who is engaged in a massive battle far away, charging towards the enormous command ship while being bombarded by the surrounding fleet. I'm going crazy if either of them gets hurt while fighting. I take a deep breath, but there's nothing I can do right now. Desperately, I send a brief command via voice transmission to Hong Fan and collapse on the spot. Though the monster's corpse is buoyant, countless illusions surround Kim Young-hoon and me. One illusion is of an old man with a flower basket approaching within 1 jang, tilde 3m. Other illusions include a bizarre seagull demon practicing martial arts, a muscular giant kissing his muscles, a strange monk with one eye covered by an eye patch looking for someone with a cough. All kinds of illusions, based on the memories of various beings, are floating in the air. Seeing these illusions, I look up at the sky of the ancient force realm. The sky where celestial energy cannot be read. The world of the Earth tribe. The land is history. Someone had once told me that. I reach my hand toward the sky and smile. In the world of history, the history of my martial arts has finally won against the incarnation of true martial arts. My martial arts have not been in vain. //// Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 362, Is it not a joy to have friends come from afar? 6. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 362, Is it not a joy to have friends come from afar? 6. Jin Mayol frowns as he faces the man stroking a hand, the chief law protector of the Wuji religious order, Jeon Myung-hoon. He feels a subtle attraction force emanating from the man before him. Integration stage, huh? However, Jin Mayol is not worried. Judging by how poorly he controls his domain, he must be a rookie who only recently reached the integration stage. There's nothing to worry about. Surung. He draws out his natal Dharma treasure, tearing Fisher chain sickle, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, and envelops his entire body in his domain. Chwarang. He grips the black chain sickle inscribed with jade-colored spell characters, and as he recites an invocation, his form becomes semi-transparent. Overlaying his domain with space, he can become invisible at any time and redirect his opponent's attacks elsewhere. This is his unique technique. Jin Mayol hurls his tearing Fisher chain sickle at Jeon Myung-hoon. Rookies in the early integration stage lose their minds if their domain is cracked. Just as the tearing Fisher chain sickle, moving at the speed of light, is about to reach Jeon Myung-hoon. Kwajijijik. Jin Mayol realizes something is wrong. This is the sky, why am I flying? And before he can finish his thoughts, a six-armed giant coursing with red lightning appears above him. In the six-armed giant's hand is a seven-colored lightning bolt. Wait. Kwajijijik. Jin Mayol is slammed into the ground, vomiting blood. As something is wrong. Buang. Kug. As soon as he regains his senses, he hastily rolls away to avoid Jian Myung-hoon, who is falling from above. Quang. Jian Myung-hoon slams his 6 arms into the ground, and Jin Mayol moves back before wielding his chained sickle. But then it happens. Kagagugugu. What? Suddenly the ground tilts. Through his consciousness domain, Jin Mayol realizes what's happening. The sky island of the ghostly creatures, it's splitting in half. Kagagugugu. From behind, he senses some things colliding at speeds too fast for the eye to see. And amidst the gap, he glimpses a flash of golden radiance and grits his teeth. It's that thief, the one who stole my natal Dharma treasure last time. Crack. He can never forget that astonishing speed. The comrade of the Conqueror King who stole his cherished nurturing saber, Chinese letter, blood fruit, Chinese letter. He glances at the something fighting on par with the thief, thinking. Seeing that thief fighting on equal terms, he must have drawn my beloved saber that he stole from me. I should seize the opportunity to take back my natal Dharma treasure. Just as he concludes his thoughts, crimson-red lightning streaks towards him. Quang. However, an explosion erupts instantly. Jian Myung-hoon flinches, glaring at Jin Mayol who has blocked his lightning. In Jin Mayol's right hand is his Dharma treasure, tearing Fisher chained sickle, and in his left hand, his bones, flesh, and muscles have formed a grotesque sword. I apologize. I underestimated you, thinking you were just a rookie at the early integration stage. But it seems you've mastered quite a unique method, your strength likely reaching mid or late stage. Grinning, Jin Mayol speaks. I'll take you seriously. Kagagugugu. An overwhelming aura emanates from his entire body. And while it's only for a brief, fleeting moment, Jian Myung-hoon feels the same chilling sensation he had once felt from Seo Yun-hyan. Fighting steps, Chinese letter. Second realm, Chinese letter. His grotesque sword is overlaid by his domain. The next instant, Jin Mayol folds space and rushes to Jian Myung-hoon's face. Kwajijik. Jian Myung-hoon's lightning spear collides with Jin Mayol's grotesque sword, causing an explosion. Jian Myung-hoon looks at his tingling hand. You bastard, that move. It's a type of fighting dance learned in the traditional rituals of the fighting ghost race. Once you reach a certain level, you can. Boing. Once again, Jin Mayol charges at Jian Myung-hoon, swinging his grotesque sword. Jian Myung-hoon blocks with his lightning spear, but the grotesque sword bends grotesquely like Seo Yun-hyan's formless sword, scratching his body. Jian Myung-hoon frowns. Can see the trajectory of Jin Mayol's sword with his lightning-sharp vision. The sword moves as if alive, connected to Jin Mayol's body and changes its path every instant in the air. Reading each and every air current in the empty space, it makes the optimal choice every moment. Jian Myung-hoon looks at Jin Mayol with annoyance and grits his teeth. You remind me of an annoying person. Haha, so what? I thought of frying you for fun, but I've changed my mind. Kwajijik. The 7-colored lightning swirling around Jian Myung-hoon's 6 arms begin to merge into a single color. Pure red lightning. Jin Mayol senses something is amiss. I will crush you with all my might. Kwajijik. Jian Myung-hoon extends his 6 arms, launching lightning spears in all directions. Kwaravirung. The red lightning writhes and pursues Jin Mayol. Kwajijik. One of the lightning spears eventually pierces Jin Mayol's torso, causing him to froth at the mouth in excruciating pain. Damn it, I need to escape his attack range. Todd. Jin Mayol hurriedly exits the Twilight Domain. Having faced the Conqueror King's fleet several times before, Jin Mayol judges it best to confront Jian Myung-hoon near the sea circle of the Bukhyang fleet. However, he soon realizes his judgment is wrong. You fool, to leave the Twilight Domain on your own. Kwajijik. Jian Myung-hoon's body swells even more. An overwhelming amount of lightning surges within him. Jin Mayol's face turns pale. This lunatic, that wasn't his full power. And then, Jian Myung-hoon begins to press Jin Mayol hard. Jin Mayol tries to resist Jian Myung-hoon's lightning. In terms of overall combat ability, skills, and combat experience at the integration stage, Jin Mayol is superior, and having reached the 2nd realm of fighting steps, his instantaneous reaction speed, is also above Jian Myohoon. But he grits his teeth. Even though I'm superior in experience, skill, and reaction speed, I'm losing purely by raw power. Quajijijik. Feeling his domain getting torn apart by the waterfall of lightning spewed by Jian Myohoon, his eyes tremble. It ends with this. Pajijik. After unleashing the lightning waterfall, Jian Myohoon gathers his 6 arms and begins to form a single red lightning spear. Jin Mayol's face turns pale. And in the next moment, quang, a golden light flickers, and suddenly, the Ghost King, who is considered the leader of the ghostly creatures, flies in and bursts Jian Myohoon's upper body apart. Kueg Siuyunhayan. Jian Myohoon roars, his voice filled with rage. In Jian Myohoon's vision, Seo Yunhayan's 19-headed figure appears for 0.01 seconds. Seo Yunhayan's silhouette seems to be saying something to him, but it's too brief for Jian Myohoon to understand. Then, using Jian Myohoon's body as a springboard, Seo Yunhayan flies toward the sea circle formed by the Bukhyang fleet. Quang! One corner of the sea circle, unfolded through the dimensional canopy, is blown open. Jian Myohoon cries out for Seo Yunhayan with resentment, while Jin Mayol stares blankly at the breach Seo Yunhayan created in the sea circle. The notorious conqueror fleet's deep-sea barrier, was it so easily broken? He shakes his head in disbelief. Indeed, what a monstrous being. I'm fortunate to not have faced it directly. With his thoughts concluded, Jin Mayol swings his tearing fisher chain sickle and grotesque sword at Jian Myohoon, who is hastily regenerating his body. The battle, which seemed to favor Jian Myohoon momentarily, is once again evenly matched due to Seo Yunhayan's intervention. Kim Yeon's first thought when she sees Bukhyang is simple. For some reason, I don't like the look of her. However, despite this thought, her judgment is swift. I can't let them complete the barrier. I need to capture that commander right now. Surung. 8 throwing knives flow down from Kim Yeon's hand. As a faint pink radiance glimmers on the throwing knives connected to her consciousness threads, they are swung towards Bukhyang. The pink slash flies towards Bukhyang. But then, quang! 2 second Hyang ships, escorting the first Hyang ship that Bukhyang is aboard, fires their cannons and shatters Kim Yeon's slash. Kim Yeon's eyes glint. What? How could they block my attack with just those meager Dharma treasures? Feeling something strange, Kim Yeon launches another slash and then uses the flying escape technique to attempt a body slam towards Bukhyang. But once again, cannon fire rains down on Kim Yeon, and she finally realizes. Quang! As she is pushed back by the fleet's bombardment, Kim Yeon glares at the barrier formed by the deep sea that's unfolded in the sky. This barrier is weakening everyone facing these ships while enhancing the fleet's attacks. Kim Yeon's eyes glow with pink brilliance as she glares at Bukhyang. If I fight within this barrier, the damage will be great. I need to get outside and fight. And just as she thinks this, quang! An enormous explosion resounds, and a large hole is blown in the sea circle formed by the Bukhyang fleet. It's been 5 seconds since the battle began. Oh my, the path is opened. A smile spreads across Kim Yeon's face, while Bukhyang's face is filled with shock. No, my sea circle. Kim Yeon smirks as she swiftly uses the flying escape technique, brushing past Jin Mayol and Jian Myohoon to exit beyond the sea circle. She then turns her gaze towards the 4th Hyang ships maintaining the barrier from the north, south, east, west, and above, and charges straight at them. As she is about to strike the 4th Hyang ships, the 1st Hyang ship in the Bukhyang fleet, which had previously entered the sea circle, come out and aim their cannons at Kim Yeon. But Kim Yeon laughs. Quang! The cannons fire directly at Kim Yeon, but she laughs. What is that all, ahihata? It doesn't hurt. There's absolutely no damage at all. Outside the sea circle, Kim Yeon has no reason to be pushed back by the Bukhyang fleet. Bukhyang's face hardens, while Kim Yeon's face brightens with joy. The next moment, quang! 7 seconds after the battle began, Seo Yunhayan and Kim Yeon clash in a battle far off in the sea, causing the entire sea domain to tremble. Using the shockwave as a signal, Kim Yeon charges towards the Bukhyang fleet. With a hardened face, Bukhyang forms hand seals. In response to her seals, the puppets aboard the 1st Hyang ship move busily, waving white flags. Second Fleet, 6th and 10th Squadrons, all ships switch to Plan Yule Chinese letter. Position 3 second Hyang ships each to the port and starboard sides of the 1st Hyang ship, and to the stern, with the bodies of 3rd Hyang ships. 4th Hyang ships are to support the Sea Master, Chinese letter from Sea. Ch Wareric. The Buk Hyang fleet moves in perfect unison, bombarding Kim Yon as they form a formation. The 2nd Hyang ships flank to the left and right of the 1st Hyang ship, and the 3rd Hyang ships line up behind, forming a snake-like shape. The Buk Hyang fleet float in the air like a gigantic serpent in the shape of the character Yule Chinese letter, confronting Kim Yon. Clank, clank, clank. Numerous ships connect, beginning to interlock with each other. Simultaneously, the Buk Hyang fleet, which individually was only at the heavenly being level, transforms into a colossal serpent-shaped puppet, with its aura rising to the early 4-axis stage. Ch Wareric. The serpent of ships moves in the air, encircling Kim Yon. The cannons all aim at Kim Yon and begin coordinated bombardment. Kim Yon endures the bombardment head-on with her bare body and flies towards the body of the serpent that surrounds her. Despite the concentrated fire, it's insufficient to penetrate the protective Gang Chi enveloping her entire body. Finally, Kim Yon succeeds in attaching herself to one of the 3rd Hyang ships that forms part of the serpent's body. Witnessing this, Buk Hyang HWA makes a swift decision without hesitation. 437th 3rd Hyang ship, detached from body, self-destruct. Clank, clank. The part of the serpent's body connected to the designated 3rd Hyang ship is severed, and the few crew members on the ship evacuate. Kim Yon senses explosive energy surging inside the 3rd Hyang ship. However, her expression remains calm. Tsuzatsu. The wonderfully mysterious, innate heart cannon activates. Kim Yon recalls the voice of the Mad Lord echoing in her ears. Although he is a madman, he would regain his sanity with remarkable clarity whenever he taught about puppetry. Listen carefully, my disciple. My wonderfully mysterious fortress, as well as this circuit and all my creations, are fundamentally superior to any mechanical device that exists in this world. Unless they are a puppeteer at true immortality, sacred vessel, or entering nirvana, no one can create a puppet superior to mine. He. Words that seem arrogant at first. But Kim Yon, who has witnessed the Mad Lord's techniques closer than anyone else, understands. All puppets that exist in this world, created by mortals, are fundamentally inferior to my puppets. They are nothing more than primitive mechanical toys equipped with crude puppet techniques. Yes, the vast majority of mortal techniques in this world are inferior versions of the wonderfully mysterious fortress. Do you understand what this means? The Mad Lord's arrogance is not overconfidence but genuine confidence. With the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon and my circuits I taught you, you can easily suppress and seize control of the inferior puppets of other lowly puppeteers. Today, I have captured a 4-axis stage puppeteer for you to practice on. Kim Yon's wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon penetrates the various parts of the 3rd Hyang ship, forming the same configuration as the Mad Lord's circuits. Kim Yon sighs. Well, it's not as incompetent as he claimed. Though it is indeed inferior compared to the wonderfully mysterious fortress, it's still a significant technological marvel. No, rather than being a mere inferior version, it feels like it has evolved in a different direction. Nonetheless, she isn't worried at all. After all, her circuits have already seized control of the 3rd Hyang ship. Kiyeving. The self-destruct command for the 3rd Hyang ship is halted. Kim Yon, having taken control of the 3rd Hyang ship, locks eyes with the bewildered Buk Hyang HWA. Well then, here I come. Kagagugu. Using her own spiritual power as the energy source, the 3rd Hyang ship flies in as if it's on a rampage, ramming its bow into the nearby members of the Buk Hyang fleet. Quang. Simultaneously, the interlocking components between the 3rd Hyang ship and the rest of the Buk Hyang fleet snaps into place, connecting it to the other ships. Kim Yon's eyes gleam as she begins taking control of the Buk Hyang fleet through the 3rd Hyang ship. Watching this from the command room of the 1st Hyang ship, Buk Hyang Hwa's expression twists slightly. And my creations, what are you doing to them? Chijijijik. As her emotions intensify, 3 colored patterns emerge on her face. Unlike when she was in the head realm, her patterns have evolved, with 2 of the 3 colors now partially blended. Grinding her teeth, Buk-hyang HWA manipulates several devices in the command center. Simultaneously, the command room detaches from the first Hyang ship, transforming into a spider-shaped puppet. "Commander, what are you doing?" "Commander, please calm down." The frantic shouts of the Buk-hyang fleet's crew pour towards the command room, but the crazed Buk-hyang HWA ignores them. "Dujujujudo." The spider puppet she is riding quickly descends the serpent's body created by the Buk-hyang fleet. Reaching the Buk-hyang fleet, Kim Yon has taken over. Buk-hyang Hwa's hands begin to move. Clank, clank, clank. The patterns on her face glow intensely. Her hands move faster and faster. Kagagugugu. Countless devices spring from the legs of the spider puppet, dismantling and modifying the Buk-hyang fleet in real time at Buk-hyang Hwa's command. In an instant, the command system of one ship is altered, and the ship controlled by Kim Yon has its command authority reset. Buk-hyang HWA swiftly inputs herself as the new command authority, quickly reclaiming the ship seized by Kim Yon. Finally, Buk-hyang Hwa's spider puppet lands on the third Hyang ship where Kim Yon is. Kim Yon smirks. "Oh my, what confidence do you have to come all the way down here? I think I can take control of that puppet too." "You should not insult my creations. More than that, please get off my ship now." "I don't want to. We're in the middle of a battle. What nonsense are you spouting?" As fellow puppeteers, should we not fight fairly with puppets?" Kim Yon scoffs at her words. "Well, my master might have responded to your words, but not me. Truthfully, I have no pride in being a puppeteer, and I hate my puppeteer master. I thought this since I first saw you, but you're really rude." The two glare at each other. "What's your name? When I capture and modify you later, I'll make sure to specially call the magic artifact your living name." "Mysterious Bizarre Ghost King Kim Yon, and yours?" "Conqueror King Buk-hyang HWA. Kim Yon, huh? You have an unnecessarily good name, don't you?" "Haha, you better pray I don't catch you as well. If I do, I'll turn you into something like General Buck. Anyway, I learned well from my master how to make living puppets, so I can probably make something good. I'd rather self-destruct than be captured and modified by you, who has no pride as a puppeteer and no personal puppets. But if you get captured by me, I'll turn you into a far superior magic artifact or ship, so no need to worry." The two puppeteers stare at each other for a moment, then quickly move their hands. "Buwang." Kim Yon slashes, and Buk-hyang HWA urgently inputs commands. "C pillar Chinese letter, activate. K guagua. Kurarung." The slash splits Buk-hyang Hwa's spider puppet in half. In the next moment, the fourth Hyang ship's preparing a formation on the deep-sea surface manipulates the sea to create a massive pillar. The dimensional pillar, resembling a water column, shoots up into the sky and strikes the third Hyang ship where Buk-hyang HWA and Kim Yon are. Kim Yon squints and looks around. In an instant, her surroundings warped, and she realizes she has entered a strange alternate dimension. Countless scenes shatter like glass and scatter around her. Is this the depths of the deep sea? In front of her is Buk-hyang HWA, riding the broken spider puppet. Kim Yon smirks. "You've used some tricks, but so what? You and I are in the same situation." Kim Yon takes a step forward. But at the same time, the space distorts, and the distance between her and Buk-hyang HWA widens. Buk-hyang Hwa's voice echoes from afar. "It seems you're not accustomed to the ancient force realm. Hoo-hoo. In the deep sea of the ancient force realm, you can't move properly unless you're at a cultivation realm that can control attraction force." "Ha, you cheeky thing. Don't worry, I remember your position. I can follow you anywhere." However, Buk-hyang HWA, who is listening to Kim Yon's words, merely laughs as she dismounts from the spider puppet. "Try to follow me then." "Wu-wung." She pulls out a shining ore from her storage scroll. Holding 10 ancient stones in her hand, Buk-hyang HWA crushes them all. "Payet." Simultaneously, Buk-hyang Hwa's figure vanishes, leaving Kim Yon looking bewildered. "Chua." Buk-hyang HWA catches her breath on a nearby third Hyang ship. "Kagagugugu." The technique of moving the deep sea of the ancient force realm to create a water pillar and trap the opponent in the depths. "Sea pillar." The giant water pillar sinks back into the deep sea. Kim Yon, who was sucked into it, disappears without a trace. Since it's probably her first time in the ancient force realm, she most likely wouldn't have ancient stones. Buk-hyang HWA understands the terror of the deep sea. In the shallow depths of the deep sea, One can escape even without ancient stones if they can control attraction force and have coordinates on the surface. But her opponent is at most at the heavenly being stage, has no ancient stones, and is new to the deep sea of the ancient force realm, so she wouldn't have coordinates. Buck Hyung HWA uses the flying escape technique to return to the first Hyung ship. Messages are pouring in from all directions. Commander, we thought something terrible happened. Please, Commander, don't do such reckless things. Buck Hyung HWA waves her hand, as if to reassure them with a slight smile. Sorry, everyone, but for some reason, I really didn't like the look of that woman. I just felt like I had to get rid of her somehow. Now, let's continue with the rescue CO-RAN operation. Having lost the spider puppet-shaped command room, she heads to the temporary command room of the first Hyung ship. And it's when she arrives at the temporary command room. ZZZZT. Commander, there's a strange spell on your body. Please check it. The artifacts in the temporary command room activate, emitting light towards her body. Simultaneously, Buck Hyung HWA notices a white thread-like object attached to her arm. This is a consciousness thread. Just as she is about to identify whose consciousness thread it is. Space tears open, and delicate jade-like hands grab Buck Hyung HWA's arm. And from its depths, Kim Yeon's face emerges with her eyes burning with ferocious pink flames. You weren't at the heavenly being stage. Abandon the prejudice that heavenly beings can't handle attraction force. Kim Yeon grins and covers Buck Hyung HWA's mouth. As expected of Yoon Hyeon Oppa. Using the power of the vast cold heavenly circle rotating fiercely in her dantian, Kim Yeon emits attraction force and laughs. Now then, Hyung HWA, I'll give you one last chance. Dispel the barrier you've set up in the Twilight Domain immediately. Kim Yeon points at the sea circle that still surrounds the Twilight Domain, even regenerating the part that CO Yoon Hyeon had broken through. When Kim Yeon momentarily releases her hold on Buck Hyung HWA's mouth. Buck Hyung HWA's eyes gleam as she shouts. Sea turmoil activate, first Hyung ship self-destruct. Kagagugugu. The first Hyung ship the two women are on begins to shake wildly, and at the same time, the water level of the deep sea beneath the Twilight Domain begins to rise. The deep sea starts rising toward the Twilight Domain surrounded by the sea circle, and Kim Yeon glares fiercely at Buck Hyung HWA. Sea pillar reactivate, target is the first Hyung ship. From the deep sea below, signs of another water pillar forming becomes evident. Kim Yeon covers Buck Hyung HWA's mouth again, and begins infusing her consciousness into her. Buck Hyung HWA's pupils start to shake. Kim Yeon speaks as she invades Buck Hyung HWA's mind, with the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon. Even if I have to control your body, I will stop it. Buck Hyung HWA's pupils roll back, and her entire body begins to tremble. And then, at that moment, Taku. Someone grabs Kim Yeon's wrist. Her face lights up with joy. A man dressed in white robes appears between them. Yoon Hyeon Oppa. CO Yoon Hyeon looks at both of them with tired eyes. That's enough, Yeona. Let's just keep her as a captive for now. Yes. Kim Yeon stops infusing her consciousness into Buck Hyung HWA and restrains her solely with a spell. I let out a sigh, swiftly using the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon to seize control of the ship and prevent it from self-destructing. I then maneuver the ship to avoid the water column rising from below. If I was just a bit late, it could have been a disaster. I told Hong Fan to stop them if they looked like they were about to kill each other, but Hong Fan seems preoccupied with rejoining the Twilight Domain that I split in half. At least my body recovered quickly. I almost had to witness Kim Yeon presenting Buck Hyung HWA transformed into a General Buck. I send a voice transmission to the entire Buck Hyung fleet, which has transformed into a snake-like puppet. Your commander has been captured. Cease raising the water level of the deep sea and deactivate the sea barrier. However, despite my transmission, the Buck Hyung fleet does not deactivate the barrier, and the water level inside continues to rise. And as soon as my voice transmission echoes, the Buck Hyung fleet begins bombarding the first Hyung ship instead. Boom, thud, thud. I deflect all the bombardments with my attraction force inside. Examining Buck Hyung HWA's soul, there's a passageway connected to a distant space. Come to think of it, Song Jin must have prepared a separate means for her to resurrect. Considering the revival methods of the Black Ghost Valley, it seems the Baekhyang fleet decided it's better to kill the captured Baekhyang HWA and revive her in a safe place separately. Or perhaps Baekhyang HWA herself had given such instructions in case she was captured. These bastards. Kim Yeon is furious, but I calm her down and take a big sigh as I head to the bow of the ship. Warararak. White grain-like spiritual energy floats around me. I send another voice transmission to Hong Fan. Hong Fan, activate the dividing world barrier. Yes, master. Wu Lung. Soon, a 7-colored barrier envelops the entire twilight domain. By my will, the barrier of yin-yang 5 elements encases the sea barrier created by the Baekhyang fleet. Great Mountain. Kagagagugu. Clashing the energies of yin and yang from my hands, I quickly charge toward the yin-yang 5 elements barrier and spread my arms. Splitting Emperor. Kagagagugu. It feels like everything in front of me is boiling white. Simultaneously, the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique tears through the deep-sea barrier. Thanks to the activation of the world-dividing barrier by Hong Fan, the Twilight Domain, along with pre-designated figures like Oh Hyun-seok, Jeon Myeong-hoon, and the 13 Ghost Kings, are not torn apart. However, everything except for them is visibly shredded all at once. Kugwigwagwagwa. The 4-axis cultivators, the heavenly being cultivators, and the deep-sea barrier created by the Baekhyang fleet, along with the rising deep sea level inside it, all of it vanishes. For a while, blinding white light envelops all 4 directions in heaven and earth. I squint my eyes. What's this? The power is far stronger than I anticipated. Rather than it being due to my power, it seems the deep sea of the ancient force realm itself is reacting to the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique. Kagagugu. What just why? I'm taken aback as the power of the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique shows no sign of diminishing. Wu-wung. The entire nearby deep sea is reacting to the power of the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique. Yes, the ancient force realm itself is resonating with the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique. I squint my eyes, looking at the pillar of light filling my view. It's not just because I possess remnants of a destroyed world that brought me to the ancient force realm. Perhaps this world itself has some connection with the owner of Salt Mountain. Ancient Force Realm, Zijai Worship Region. At the center of the Zijai Worship Region, in the deepest depths of the Sea King Hall, a man with blue scales half opens his eyes. His eyes brighten as he looks in a certain direction. Is it that being's true successor, the mountain god, will have a fit? Hei Lin, the sacred master of the ancient force realm, chuckles and closes his eyes again. Try to obtain as much ancient force as you can, descendant of the owner of Salt Mountain. That way, you might have hope against the mountain god. Jiangxi Domain. Governing Dragon Palace. The audience chamber of the Governing Dragon Palace Lord. There the Governing Dragon Palace Lord Yuk Rin sits on his throne, his eyes wide open. As he looks at the map, displaying the real-time situation across the Jiangxi Domain that floats on the floor of the audience chamber, his hands tremble violently. His eyes are filled with greed. The one who possesses the power of Pinglai, ahaha, Yuk Yo, that worthless insect finally did something useful for once, to catch such a big fish, ahaha. Laughing maniacally, Yuk Rin stands up. This is very good. There's no need to keep my promise with that Jin Mayol, a better alternative has appeared. Yuk Rin bursts into a loud proclamation, sending his voice throughout the Governing Dragon Palace. Hear me prepare a celebration immediately. We will be hosting an honored guest, and if necessary, we will hold Princess Yuk Yo's wedding as well. What are you waiting for? Move now. Thus, the entire Governing Dragon Palace becomes busy under Yuk Rin's command. The 4-axis and heavenly being stage mercenaries who invaded the Twilight Domain all flee, with only their nascent soul left intact. Quite resilient, huh? By the time one reaches the heavenly being stage, most usually have at least 1 or 2 methods of revival, so none of them died. Of course, I could have prevented even their souls from escaping with my ability, but I don't feel it worth the effort, so I let them go. After subduing the Baekhyang fleet, I enter the Twilight Domain. Baekhyang HWA, unconscious and tightly bound by Kim Yeon's spell, is carried inside by Kim Yeon, who slings her over one shoulder. I glance at Baekhyang HWA for a moment and sigh. I don't know what expression to make. At least the fortunate thing is that, since it's been thousands of years, my heart doesn't stir as it did when I met her before. Yunhyan, no, cult leader. Are you going to imprison this impudent thing in the underground prison, or will you kill her? If you leave it to me, I will turn her into a fine puppet. Yona. Feeling a headache coming on, I interrupt Kim Yon. That person is a comrade of Seo Ran and Chi-Ho. For now, place her in the honored guest chambers. At those words, Kim Yon looks dazed for a moment and then asks again. Isn't she a captive? There seems to be a misunderstanding. She's the comrade of not only Seo Ran and Chi-Ho but, over there, of director Kim Young-hoon as well. Only then does Kim Yon notice Kim Young-hoon, who has been brought to the Twilight Domain by the cursed dolls, and flinches in surprise. Kim Young-hoon is still unconscious. Kim Yon, slightly dejected at my words, looks down at Buk Hyung-hwa. I too look at the unconscious Buk Hyung-hwa with blinking eyes. Although I don't feel the same turmoil as before, she is still a very complex presence for me. Flinching. Thinking about the past, I inadvertently lose control of my intent and direct a complicated intent towards her. Shaking my head, I return to the Wuji religious hall. When she wakes up, I need to sort out my feelings. After all, I know the her of this cycle is not the her of that time. So it might not be a bad idea to take this opportunity to sort out my feelings. I'll probably hear an earful from Hong Fan. During my battle with Kim Young-hoon, I tried to minimize the damage to the order, but the aftermath alone caused significant harm. Thanks to my careful control of power, there were almost no casualties, but the Twilight Domain was split, and buildings were uprooted, so Hong Fan must have had a hard time protecting it. Still, it's nice to see the faces I missed altogether after a long time. When those who fainted wake up, it seems it will be quite enjoyable. Seo Yunhyan enters the Wuji religious hall. Meanwhile, Kim Yon looks intently at the captured Buk Hyung-hwa. Just now, what was that? Kim Yon glares at Buk Hyung-hwa, recalling the intent Seo Yunhyan had just shown towards her. Kids. With wide eyes, Kim Yon calls out to the expressionless cursed dolls repairing the surroundings. They immediately rush over and kneel before her at her command. Have you called left law protector Nim? Prepare a room in the honored guest chambers and bring medicine suitable for humans. I will personally nurse this child. // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord.